Hey, what's up, everybody? So I decided to do a live video today because I got nothing better to do. I actually had an interview to do right now, and they rescheduled till Sunday. So I was talking to some friends, and I was like, you know what? Why not just do a live? Plus, I was actually reading through some of the comments on Great Light Studios on the recent video between me and Jordan, and I thought it was pretty hilarious that some of the crazy stuff that members say, but nonetheless, we're here today. We can maybe address some of that. Uh, Q&A, it's open for anybody. And if any current members are watching this, I will post the link to join the meeting on the chat. So if you're feeling froggy, then leap. We'd love to have you on, and you can ask questions, we can debate, whatever you guys want to do. So I'll open the floor up to everybody. I don't expect this to go that long, but we'll see what happens. So, by the way, what's everybody thought of the new video with me and Jordan? I think it came out pretty solid. And forgive me because this is going to be my first live. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get everything working. So this is kind of like an experiment as well. Let's see if anybody is going to join, or if anybody is watching. Looks like we got some people watching. If you guys got some questions, you guys want me to address a certain topic, talk about something, please let me know on the chat. How's the quality? Because on the screen it looks a little choppy. Let's see. I'm still trying to figure out how to share my screen. So I want to talk about, I guess, some of the, I guess one topic would be the baptism date of Ansanhong. That's something that I haven't covered before. If I can ever figure out how to get this to work, let me see, to share my screen. Just a sec. There we go. All right. So let's talk about Ansanhong's baptism date, because the WMSCOG needs this in order to claim Ansanhong as the second coming Christ, correct? So let's actually look at when he was born and when he died. Remember, I actually sent this to me earlier, and I think it's kind of fun to dive in to while we wait for people that maybe want to join. Let's see. Forgive my slow internet, people. Here we go. Okay. All right. Hopefully, you guys can tell me if it's not popping up, but you guys should see this picture on your screen. And this picture is obviously of An San Hong. You can Google, just his name, and it'll pop up, the basic information about An San Hong, when he was born, when he died, right? So here he died in February 25th, 1985, right? Now remember, the WMSCOG claim that he was baptized in 1948, right? Now, obviously, we know that that's not the case. The Seventh-day Adventists already debunked them, but nevertheless, we're going to use, both supposed baptism dates. To me, honestly, whichever day he was baptized, it really doesn't matter because he's not God one way or the other. I don't care if he did, actually was baptized exactly in 1948, which ironically, if you calculate it both ways, neither of them get you to, the 37 years. But that's a whole nother story. Even if he did, he's still not Christ. So here on about concerning An San Hong's baptism day that you can Google yourself, it says An San Hong was baptized on December 16, 1948 in Nakseom Island, Incheon, South Korea, while attending a Seventh-day Adventist church. He was 30 years old at the time of his baptism. So here it's stating December 16, 1948. Okay, so let's run with that date, right? Okay, if you actually plug that into Chat GPT, which my friend actually did, let's see what it cooks up. Man, my computer is so slow. Okay, no, not that one. That's the second one. So let me show you this one. In the meanwhile, while that picture's loading, I'm gonna pop up my YouTube, see if anybody's joining us. Ah, there you go. Now I can see the people. Cool. So we got some people on here. Bear with me, people. Let's see. Missing chat. Let me read some of what the chat is saying. Topic: if you deny Jesus comes in the flesh, then you are the Antichrist. Yeah, that's a good point. WMSCOG loves to use that. And Superman 33 says, just a heads up, the three missing chapters from On's Green Book, they are saying they do in-person study on those. Come on, fellas. Everybody knows that that's a lie. They're not gonna show you that. And the funny thing is, when I was in, right, they made such a big deal and they would almost make you feel guilty for even asking about them if you even knew about them. Now they're, flipping the script and trying to tell you, hey, come study with us in person, right? This is so crazy how adaptive this place is. But I mean, I highly doubt that they're actually going to show them to you. And if they do, they're just going to completely chop it up. So, anyway, let's look at what Chat GPT has to say here. So, step one, if you calculate from December 16, 1948, if you count that as his baptism date, all the way to December 16, 1984, that's 36 full years. Not 37. This is 36. So he does not fulfill the 37 years of King David's reign if you go off of this date. Now let's go off of the other one. Even if you use the other date, well, looks like we got somebody wanting to join. Let me just cover this real quick. So here, step two, from December 16, 1984 to February 25th, 1985, the final result is what? 36 years, 2 months, and 9 days. So either way, none of it fits the bill. Okay, let's see. Let's see who we got on. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, Edgar? How you doing?
Not much, man. We're live, right?
I know we're live. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Man,
my
what's up?
first
This is
live. Let's
epic,
go,
bro.
guys.
Yes, sir. Hey,
Yeah,
Mitch,
so
tell
go
everybody a
ahead.
little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, I can't share too much at the moment, but let's just say, I was in a Korean cult for quite a while. We'll just put it like that, and I was a leader in it. One thing I wanted to share, later, Edgar, and I'll it just depends on how late you keep open the live stream.
Yeah.
I'm actually in a group call actually right now with another Asian cult. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
Um, and this one's from China, and they have a lot of similarities to the Korean cult you're talking about. So
Well,
I have to go to dinner with my wife here in a sec, but if you're gonna be still open at I guess it's 6:46 my time, but if you're still open, uh, 7:20 my time, I want to join in, and I would love to share some similarities within these other Asian cults and how they're
Yeah.
literally using the same, practically same doctrine. And then people can see that what the Korean cult you have been sharing about for so long, and they're not anything unique.
Yeah.
They're using teachings that this other group has been using a lot as well. But yeah,
So you're telling me so you left a cult and you're infiltrating other cults, man. You're the man, bro.
that's
That's
what we're
that's
doing.
hard work, man. That's hard work,
We're
bro.
trying to expose them, as you know. So
Man.
yeah, we're there's a lot of them out there, and you've probably learned as well. A lot of
Yeah.
them have a lot of similarities, especially these Asian groups, right? So
Yeah.
you're going to be really surprised if you're still on live stream around that time, and maybe if you close it out but start it back up. I would love to go into detail on this certain group
Yeah.
that I'm actually infiltrating right now, and actually share about them and how they're so similar to the Korean cult you've been exposing. So.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I think it'll be fascinating because there's a lot of them out there, like you said, SCJ, there's what Eastern
Yep.
Lightning, there's what is the other one? It was literally JMS. That one came
JMS,
out
yeah.
on Netflix. And yeah, there's so many quotes out there, man. So we'd love to hear your perspective, but I don't want to keep you too long. I know you said you got to go to dinner.
No,
So
yeah,
I
definitely.
honestly I don't know how long I'm gonna be
It's
on
up to you.
for,
Yeah, if you're still
but
on, when I'm done with dinner, I would love to hop on and share some. But other than that, I will have to hop off from now. But I just thought I'd show the face on the live stream, and yeah.
for sure, bro. Love it,
All
man.
right.
Thanks for joining,
All
bro.
right. Take care. Bye.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Hey, I see finding the alternatives in the house. Adam, what's going on, my man? Let me know if you want to join, bro. The link is there if you want to join. This is open up for everybody. Like I said, I'm not here for a long time, just a good time, right now. Seeing if anybody has any questions. Hopefully some members can hop on. This was kind of like a spur of the moment thing, like I was saying before. So I don't know. We're just kind of winging it right now. So we talked a little bit about the baptism. Let's see if anybody has anything else, any input or any questions. I do want to go back to the comment that was made by Superman 33, where it says, just a heads up, the three missing chapters from On's Green Book. They are saying they do in-person study on those. So it's just crazy to me how, again, how this place is, so reactive. Now you have cults like Pastor Daniel Parks' cult, who was the ex overseer in Denver, Colorado for, probably over a decade. And now he's handing out, all of Ansan Hong's original books to the members. And so, how, what a coincidence that now the World Mission Society is handing out, the literature to its members. Why not before? Why only when they're pressed on it? Before it was, oh, these chapters, they don't mean anything, they're not important. But now that other people are giving these books to the members, now they feel the need to do that. Is that honest? You know what I mean? And it's not only them, also Church of God Jesus Witnesses. They have those books available as well, right? And NCPCOG, right? They have the digital copies, they have the actual physical copies as well. And now that people are getting their hands on these books, now the WMSCOG is trying to follow suit and say, what? Now you guys can have them. Now they're worth studying. It's crazy. It's just really telling, and I think the more time that goes by, it just makes me realize how this place is, just so, so reactive and literally like they're watching your every move. I'll guarantee you that somebody that probably one of the few people that's watching this right now, they're probably WMSCOG members. And actually I was talking to a few, I don't disclose information for the privacy of the people because there's that trust there, but I've been talking to some overseers and some leaders of some churches, and kind of building that relationship with them. And man, they're letting me know a lot of good information, and we've heard from the grapevine, from this is from multiple people. I think it's already a well-known fact that the church has bought like a huge building. From what I heard, it's like a some type of like university. They're trying to kind of copycat off the what the Mormon church did, and it's in Buffalo, New York. And so it's already been confirmed to me by like three different people. And it's just crazy. Like, where do they get the money to buy something like that? It's the money that's coming from the members' pockets, right? So that tithe and offering, I heard it was worth millions of dollars. So I mean, just think about it, right? Like, I mean, was Jesus and his apostles walking around with millions of dollars? I mean, what do they need all this money for? And there's just so many things that I've heard multiple things. And I'm for like, again, I don't want to mention some things because I don't want to put the people who told me at risk. But at the same time, there's so many people that are telling me the same things that they wouldn't even be able to pinpoint it. But the church is scrambling right now. And then let's just say Pastor Daniel Park is putting quite a pretty big dent in the church right now. As we speak, actually, I'm not going to say as we speak because I heard this a few days ago, but a few days ago, I heard he was in Australia. So the WMSCOG is watching this. Just heads up, Daniel Park is stealing your members, not only here in the USA, but also in Australia. And I also heard he's got you guys reeling in Korea as well. And here in the United States, he's got churches in Omaha. He's got churches in Texas. That's where his headquarters is at. He's got churches in Colorado. So in Cheyenne, Wyoming, right? And so he's taking a lot of title holders, with him, and it's so crazy, man. It's like you're literally seeing in real time the church falling apart. And honestly, like it was bound to happen anyway because of the egos. I think inside the church, there's all these pastors have like huge egos, so they're all trying to get a piece of the pie. But anyway, let's go back to the comment section. Let's see what it says. Cult audit in the house. Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Superman says, act exactly. They are liars. How does one know there's missing chapters until you bring it up? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So unless you bring it up, they will not mention it to you, right? And again, that's lying by omission. We've said this multiple times, but obviously this place does not care one bit, right? Because unlike a regular normal Christian church, they're going to tell you everything up front. See, Christianity is not hiding, right? It survived everything. It survived all the Islam. It survived the Crusades, so many different things when Christianity was attacked. And even to this day, they're killing Christians in Nigeria and all over the world. They're being martyred. And then you have places like the WMSCOG who says, oh, we're being persecuted because someone's talking about us on YouTube. And it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's pretty sad. It's crazy, what's going on. But nonetheless, this is the kind of place, this is the type of fruit that these type of places show, because it's all a lie. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's just pretty ironic, like that now they're really trying to push the literature when before it was a big no-no to do that. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. Hercules says, then Zhang must be near the end if he is willing to go against WMS head office. Yes, I've actually heard this from, so again, multiple leaders have told me that they have a suspicion that not only General Passer but Daniel Park and a few other loose cannons that came out of the WMS cult, they understand, like she's approaching the end. And you can tell that, like I said, I even mentioned General Passer, he's also understanding that she's approaching the end. How do you know that? Because it's being shown even by them removing the new songbooks, right? Like the certain songs that talked about her ascending alive with the 144,000. If you weren't worried about her passing, why would you remove those? Right? Why would and again, even going back to the three missing chapters, right? If one of those is the mission of Elijah, right? About Elijah. So why won't they give you one of, let you read that for yourself? Why don't they want you to? Because you're going to understand when you read the mission of Elijah, the prophecy about Elijah is that Elijah is supposed to ascend alive with 144,000 saints. So they can try to blame Daniel Park all they want for that. The problem is multiple members, so hundreds of people from all around the world were all taught the same thing, that Zangil Jia was going to ascend alive with 144,000, right? So we were taught that in 2012. And so I just think it's very, it's very ironic, how this place, I really don't understand how they're still, as strong as they are, even though I know right now they're like they're going through it. But I mean, it's just so ridiculous. But I guess every cult, operates the same way. They say something and then they backtrack. They state a prophecy, and then when the prophecy doesn't happen, they'll blame you. They'll say they never said it. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy. But anyway, back to the chat. Let's see. Hercules says, and bringing it up means you've eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Bringing up forbidden knowledge, missing chapters, means you've eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Yes, that is 100% what they used to tell us. But again, now after them telling us that, that it was a sin to do that, now that members, they didn't listen to them and realize like there's something wrong here. We should be able to look at all the information so that we can make an informed decision. Now that they're taking the time to check all that stuff out, what is the cult doing? Damage control, right? Now they're not going to tell you it's eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now they're going to tell you, yes, actually come to us through a one-on-one study. We're going to show you what these chapters actually mean. Wait a second, that's a red flag. Why do we need to go to the church in order for them to read it to us and basically spoon feed us what they think, the narrative that they're trying to push, right? Why don't they just give us the book, let us read it for ourselves, let the members read it for themselves, and then come up with their own conclusion? No, the reason why they want you to go to the church when you're reading that is because they know if you read it honestly without being influenced, you're going to understand that Ansan Hong 100% contradicts everything that the WMSCOG says. So instead of that, what do? They're going to tell you, no, you need to come to us and let us explain to you what it actually means. So then is Ansan Hong not God? Was he not capable of making it in a clear way for you to be able to understand what the words of God are? It's just a little contradicting, don't you think? Let's see what else we got. And Ansan Hong taught that Elijah is God Jehovah, and WMS teaches there is only one God the Father. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we covered that on the video with Jordan. Ansan Hong taught that Elijah was Jehovah, and WMS teaches there is only one God, the Father. Exactly. So then how can it be Ansan Hong? How can it be Mother? It can't, right? It's a contradiction. So again, this place, is all over the place, and what I see happening throughout all the years is like they just try to make things fit forcefully. You know what I mean? Like even if it doesn't fit, even if it doesn't make sense, let's just cram it in there and hope and run with it and let's see what happens. At the end of the day, if you can't question them, then really, you know what I mean, you're not gonna win, because even if you hit a nerve with them, you know what I mean, like even if you hit them where it hurts, where it's something that they can't answer, what are they gonna tell you? Oh, brother, why are you asking that? You don't have faith. Sister, you need to read the green book. You need to write a letter to mother. You need to pray about it. AKA, that means they don't know the answer to your questions. So we got something else that says, and Elijah has to ascend with the 144,000. Exactly. So Elijah has to send alive with 144,000, not dead, right? And so, the funny thing is that we all know the members who were there, you know what I mean, from years ago, because obviously there's new waves that come into the church. But, in the beginning, when An San Hong was around, An San Hong was the one who was using this prophecy of Elijah to basically explain, to the church members that second coming Christ was going to ascend alive with 144,000, meaning himself, right? Because he believed he was Elijah. And, let me also explain something about An San Hong and claiming himself to be the second coming of Christ, because I get this question a lot from members. Members are like, it's so confusing, even when leaders reach other, like, it's so confusing because sometimes, we hear that An San Hong didn't claim to be God, and then sometimes we hear he did claim to be God. So which one is it? And the thing is that it's actually a little bit of both. And what do I mean by that? From all the research that I've done and from talking to the original church, right? And talking to multiple sources and multiple leaders of the WMSCOG that were around from the beginning, and even people outside the WMSCOG that were around An San Hong, what I've come to find out is that for, I would say, the first 3 quarters of An San Hong's gospel life, if that's what you want to call it, he didn't claim himself to be the second coming of Christ. It wasn't until Soo In came in the picture and published her book in 1978 titled God in the Flesh. That is when An San Hong actually, and there's a lot to it. So if you want to know more about the story about Soo In and An San Hong, and you want to see some pictures, hit me up, because I got all the good stuff. I could show you that. I just don't want to I don't want the WMS trying to do any funny business. So but yeah, hit me up, and I got all the pictures and all the goodies. But again, my point is, An San Hong, there was some rumors that was going around in the church that An San Hong was doing inappropriate things with Soo In, and they were spending a lot of time together, right? And so during this time, Soo In actually wrote this book called God in the Flesh in 1978. It was published. And An San Hong later, a few years later, published the Green Book, right? The funny thing is that when you read the first edition of the Green Book, which is actually right behind me, the first edition of the Green Book had, it was, if you read Soo In's book God in the Flesh and compare it to the first draft of An San Hong's Green Book, it's almost identical. Means An San Hong stole the prophecies that Soo In wrote in her book and basically ran with them for himself. Now, I'm not going to say steal, because Soo In was really tailor making these prophecies for An San Hong. So An San Hong obviously liked the idea, and he took what he wanted from her book. And I was just reading it before I came on the live. I can actually go to the chapters of Soo In's book. So this was published in 1978. And let's see, the contents, table of contents, chapter 1, the title is Concerning the Second Coming of Jesus. Chapter 2, Prophecies of Christ's Birth in the Flesh. Chapter 3, The First Coming Jesus and the Last Jesus. Chapter 4, The Order of Melchizedek. Chapter 5, Changes in the Gospel after the Early Church. Chapter 6, Bible verses about his appearance in the flesh. Chapter 7, Strengthening Our Faith in Mount Zion. Chapter 8, The Glory of Zion. Chapter 9, Evidence of Jesus coming in the flesh in the New Testament. Chapter 10, I have come to bring fire on the earth. And chapter 11, Concerning the resurrection. So when you actually read this book in detail, you'll actually see for yourself that the prophecies concerning King David, Melchizedek, these were not original to An San Hong. It was Suin who came up with these prophecies, and An San Hong ran with them. Very different from what the WMSCOG tells you. The WMSCOG will literally have you believe, because that's what they taught me in the education, that Suin broke in this. So first of all, they tell you Suin is this random lady, right? They never explain about her. They never tell you her position in the church. And like I said, I have pictures to back it up. So if you want that info, hit me up. But so this lady, they make her sound like she broke into father's bag and stole the notes where he supposedly was going to claim that Zangyo Ja was God the Mother, and that she took them and ran. Well, the real story is actually even better. It's hilarious because it's the other way around. It was An San Hong who took from Suin, not Suin from An San Hong. So that's something else. Oh, we got some activity in the chat. Let's see. Let's read some more of these comments. Superman 33. Yes, I asked the overseer and he said, "Do you have intern on your phone? Anyone can internet on your phone. Anyone can go on the internet. They have access to internet. You can look up the church." That is wild because before, again, anyone that was there just a few years ago, you guys know we were heavily discouraged from going on the internet. And now I see this new wave of members, and they're like, they don't tell us that. They don't tell us that. And it's so crazy to me because they might not be told that, but I know for a fact that the members who have been there, if they're the ones telling the new wave of members, yeah, they never said that, shame on you. Because how can you guys deny something that you guys know for a fact is true? You guys know without a shadow of a doubt that we were told, do not look at the internet because that's like eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But again, I don't blame them. They're only doing, what was done to them. So from that perspective, I understand. Let's see. Superman 33. Okay, so internet. Hercules says from time Amsuin started teaching about second coming Jesus, An started teaching he was second coming. Exactly. And he says East Coast pastor is in Poland. They are doing a lot of short-term overseas, keeping members busy. Before it used to be the islands. Now it's going to Europe. Yeah, exactly. And Hercules says, bro, if you look at the original 7 days of creation diagram, it completely contradicts what WMS members see in their green books today. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because the 6 day diagram is actually right here. So, and this is the original green book, okay? And let me see if I have the normal green book as a reference. So, and the one that the WMS gives you concerning the creation of 6,000 years. Let me find the complete and the incomplete. They have a diagram that they show the members. Let me see. Why do I want to bring up the diagram? Because, like on the comments, it was mentioned in the original book, it's totally different. So, this right here, this is what you see at the church. Okay. This is what they give the members. Now, I want you to peep at the top of the page. I want you in the circle. What do you see? You see two thrones and you see two gods sitting on the throne. Keep in mind, this is the edition that was published after An San Hong's death. So you have two gods sitting on two thrones, right? In heaven. Okay, perfect. Now, let me show you the original Green Book, okay, and the diagram. So, what do you see here? Is that two people sitting on the throne? Or is it one person, Jesus Christ, sitting on the throne? That is one person, right? See the difference? There's so many differences, between the what the WMSCOG claims to be true and what is actually true. But again, they will have you believe that, you're going crazy and that, everything is, makes sense and adds up. Okay, let's look back at the chat. So Hercules says, "Bro, if you look at the original, okay, that's the one we just went through. Oh, look who's in here. I see clear. This is the same person that was commenting on the Great Light Studios video that I just made with Jordan. Hey, before I even read your comments, if you got so much to say, bro, this is the perfect time to jump on the live with me right now. Let's do this. Come on, put me to shame, bro. I had the guts to do it when I was a member. What about you? Doesn't the Bible tell you to have an answer for anyone who asks you for the hope that you believe in, right? Doesn't the Bible tell you that Apollos publicly debated the Pharisees and the Sadducees, right? I promise I'll be gentle with you. Let's see. What does he say? You don't even understand what those three chapters are explaining. Yep, typical WMSCOG answer, right? No one understands except the ones that are being lied to them, right? No, not exactly. What Hercules said is not even true. This guy is, well, I don't know if he's a guy, a girl, or whatever, but so lost in the sauce, man. Like I said, if you want to join, the link is literally in the chat. I would love for you to join. Let's see. Hercules says the WMS is super selective in which handwritten notes they show to the members. If they included all his notes, we would all understand untaught King David's 37-year reign would be fulfilled in 1988. Exactly. I actually made a video about that with Kelsey. So if you guys are interested in that, check that video out. It's already been released. Me and Kelsey go over the supposed, article that was written in 1981 that the WMSCOG told us was about the 37-year reign of King David ending in 1985. Well, that was a lie. And we actually break it down for you, right? Actually, the 37-year, right, that is mentioned in there, but it wasn't supposed to end in 1985. It was supposed to end in 1988, according to Ansan Hong. So there's that. Let's see. The WMS super. So I see clear says show and compare those two. What's truth is altered in those two. Bro, I can't even understand what you're saying. Show and compare. Isn't that what I just did? Didn't I just literally put both books on the screen and showed you that there was a difference? A big difference, right? That Ansan Hong didn't add two gods and two thrones. GP did. That's a problem, right? That's a difference. Wouldn't you agree? Let's see. Hercules says, bro, screen is super small or just mine. Huh. Let's see. My screen is super small. Man, this whole time I've been, I'm sorry, guys. Like I told you, um, I, this is my first time doing this. So I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Let me see. Maybe if I stop sharing my screen. There it is. Okay. Let me see. All right. So I stopped sharing my screen. And I think we're good now. So let me bring back the green book and the other book. Okay, so you guys did must have not seen it, right? So my bad, you guys. Again, bear with me. I never claimed to be an expert at this. Actually, I didn't even want to do YouTube. If it wasn't for all the people, telling me and encouraging me to do it, I would have never have done it because it's not really my thing. But now that we're doing it, we're gonna, do everything faithfully, as the WMSCOG says, right? So let me find that picture for you guys again. Bear with me. Because again, this is pretty crazy when you compare it. So, and to answer now forgive me. I see clearly because now I see why you said that I didn't, show anything because the screen, well, I did, but the screen was too small. So here you go. So here in the later the edition that was written after the fact, after Aung San Hong died, the edited version. Here you see at the top, two gods on two thrones, right? So this is GP's work right here. Okay, so this is the one that all the members see. This is the one that all the members have. So pay attention to the picture at the top, encircled. You have two gods on two thrones. Again, this is the edited version after An's death. Now, let's look at the original version, the one that was published by An San Hong himself without it being edited. And let's look at the difference. The difference in here is if you look at the top, same picture, what do you see? You don't see where did the two gods and the two thrones go? They disappear. And there's only one God sitting on the throne. That's Jesus Christ. Okay. So I see clearly. I apologize that I did not know what I was doing when it came to sharing my screen, but I have now showed you the difference between the WMSCOG and An San Hong. Okay. Now let me go back because now it's starting to get active in here. Let's see. Now I lost my place. There's a lot of comments on here. Let's see. WMS. So this is SSI Ball. SSI Ball says WMSCOG says like husband and wife are two, but one flesh. WMSCOG says husband and wife are two, but one flesh. Yeah, they basically use the book of Genesis and they're trying to play off of parables and word plays, but we've already debunked that. Let's see. Hercules says 98% of the screen is your desktop. Yeah, I fixed that, Hercules. We should be good now. I see clearly. Haha, come on. The diagram still mentions the spirit and the bride, the last Adam and the last Eve. No, who denied that? Who said that the last Eve was not mentioned or that the bride was not mentioned? Clearly, you haven't read An San Hong's books. Clearly, you didn't pay any attention to An San. Your Christ. You didn't pay attention to his book when we were reading from it in the video that I made with Jordan from Great Light Studios. An San Hong tells you in context who the bride is and who the last Eve is. Okay, so you got to do your research. Okay, let's see. Hercules says, I clear, laugh out loud, but his messages aren't clear at all. Exactly. Exactly. Daisy's in the house. Yes, you have the computer screen big and you're on a small screen. Yeah. So this is gonna be a blooper reel. I love it. I think it's hilarious because I'm showing like I'm human. I really don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm just trying my best. So I think this is hilarious. I'm gonna chop this up into a blooper reel. I think I see clearly should also be chopped up, for some of these, comments that he's doing. I think it's going to be funny to, make maybe a separate blooper reel of his comments. Let's see. Hercules says the chapter that speaks about the last Adam and the last Eve, whom did On say in that very same chapter Eve represents? Exactly. That was my point exactly. IC clearly says, I have read all the handwritten notes posted in the NCPCOG. Nothing new. Sure, you have, bro. And of course, it's nothing new to you because you're very lost in the sauce. You're not good at listening, right? So even though Ansan Hong contradicts the WMSCOG, you choose to side with General Pastor. That's okay. It's just don't pledge your allegiance to Ansan Hong when in reality you're following General Pastor. Okay, because if you actually read all of the stuff and knew what I knew, you wouldn't be there. Or maybe you would. Maybe you choose to be in a false organization, even though the truth is staring you in the face. And if that's the case, then all power to you. Superman says, yes, do it. Alyssa, I know a current member who has some kind of app through the church. Would you be able to make a video explaining what is on the app if important or if current ex members still have access to it? Yeah, I could definitely do something like that. But you guys would have to so Alyssa, send me an email of like more in detail what exactly you want me to cover through that, okay? And be a little more specific, but we can definitely do that. I see clearly what teachings are different in those diagrams. I'm not even gonna waste my time with that one. The self-refuting. Little Kitten says, "Go live, I see clear." Exactly. Please join me. I see clear. You're just focusing on the image of Jesus and the two thrones. No, I'm not. Actually, I've read the book. That's why I'm able to mention that to you. I've read those books, and the differences primarily are the three missing chapters. But it was cool to kind of show you the picture as well. I'm sorry that you didn't understand that and that you assume things. But again, that's just how the WMSCOG acts. Okay. Um, Hercules says, I see clear in the chapter about the spirit and the bride, the chapter about the last Adam and the last Eve, and that very chapter, whom did On say Eve represents? They're gonna keep dodging the question, obviously. SS Eyeball says, I see clearly why be a coward. Edgar asked you to hop on the live. Why not accept? Exactly. I see clearly not going live is being a coward. I thought you read the Bible. Doesn't the Bible tell you to follow the example of the disciples of Christ? Wasn't one of their examples to publicly debate? I've said this multiple times. To debate is not for people to say, or for me and you to be like, oh, I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, or you're smarter than me. That's not the point of the debate. The point of the debate, the reason why I want to debate is for the purpose of the audience. If you have the truth, right? If you have the truth, then it should be able to stand. And if what you're saying is true, you should be able to refute me on the fly, no problem. And people will see that I'm a false prophet and I'll go away. But the reason why you guys stay on the comment section is because you know that once the heat gets cranked up and you ain't got nowhere to hide and your face is on the screen, you know what's going to happen because you guys have to stick to a script. Okay. And I'm going to make you get off the script. And so I understand you guys don't want to do that. If you do want to do that, hop on. Like I said, invitation is going to be open until I shut this down. Let's see. Daisy. Oh, thank you, Daisy. SSI ball, the chicken emojis. That's hilarious. I see clearly just a typical peer pressure tactic. Nobody is peer pressuring you. I see clearly you joined this live. And I actually appreciate that you do. Maybe you'll learn something. Hopefully, you'll take, what we said to heart, even if you think what you want to think about me. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to be a prophet. I don't claim to be second coming Christ. I don't claim to be any of that. I'm just speaking my experience and from my investigations, I'm showing you what I have. Okay, so I'm glad that you joined, and I hope that you enjoy, what we're doing here, and if you do, continue to watch. But that's it, man. But obviously, if you're gonna push back and you're gonna call me a liar or say I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna encourage you to back those statements up, right? If not, then you're more than welcome to just not say anything and just sit back and watch, right? Let's see. Little Ken, I see clear. You don't have to show your face. Exactly. You don't even got to show your face, bro. Just hop on. I see clear. That's what children do. So I guess Apollos was a child. Jesus was a child, right? Paul was a child. Hercules. Also, there's no seventh day in current book. Yeah. I see clear. Read the sixth day. So it just seems like I see clear is just arguing nonsense right now. There's no diagram. Let me see. I'm gonna try to find the actual question. Throne of God comes down after 1,000 years. Hercules says throne of God comes down after 1,000 years. Yes, that's a point that we mentioned. On the Great Light Studio videos, the New Jerusalem, the throne of God comes down after 1,000 years is over. That is what Ansan Hong taught, right? And again, the WMSCOG completely go against that. Hercules, I see clear is the chapter about the spirit and the bride, the chapter about last Adam and last Eve. In that very chapter, whom did An say Eve represents? He keeps hitting them with the same question. And I see clearly, obviously, does not see at all because they keep going around the question, right? They have no answer for that. It says, I see clear. Who will the spirit and the bride gather? Animals who will enter the ark of salvation. Hey, SS eyeball, you act like a child and talk like a child. I don't know, man. The one who's actually spelling and talking like a child is you on here, unfortunately. And again, when it comes to the spirit and the bride and who will they gather, and they will lead the animals to enter the ark of salvation, I would say show me in the Bible. That's why I want you to come on. If what you're saying is true, you should be able to back it up, not just saying in the comment section. All I'm going to do is push against what you're saying, and if what you're saying is true, you should be able to take me through those verses and make me understand and make the audience understand, right? Don't even try to convince me. If you think, oh, this is an uphill battle, I'm not gonna be able to convince them. The point is not me. The point is the people watching, right? These might be they're 100%. There are current members watching this, right? From what I've talked to the leadership, the leaders watch it and they know members watch it. Members have confessed to them that they watch these episodes. So here's your chance to save your brothers and sisters. Will you jump on a live? Are you brave enough to do that? Will you stand firm for your faith, right? Are you 144,000? We're gonna find out. So let's see. Superman 33. FY, when you question these leaders nowadays, they won't give you an explanation through the Bible. They just want you to take their word for it and their answers. Exactly. I see clearly. Ask me a biblical question, then I will answer for you. They literally did, bro. SS eyeball, right? WMSCOG, and you cannot rebuttal any arguments. Facts. I see clearly. What arguments? You don't even understand your own arguments. This is just getting like he keeps Hercules. I love it, bro. Keep repeating the same question until they answer it. Let's see. Um, Engage in debates. They just preach the truth. Jesus and Apollos did not engage in debates. They just preach the truth. That is a lie, and you're actually contradicting the scriptures. Be careful. Don't you guys love Revelations chapter 22, verse 18, where it says, do not add or subtract? That is what you're doing. You're adding and subtracting from the words of God, right? Let me see. You got somebody just text me. Give me just a second. Yeah. So let me see. I can't believe they said Apollos did not engage in debates when literally the Bible says word for word in the NIV, Apollos debated people. That, listen, I see clearly. I'm sorry, but that's how I know that you're not ready to do that. I don't blame you for not joining on honestly, because yes, it's gonna be bad for you. You don't even know that Apollos was debating that the Bible tells you that. That's crazy, man. See, this is the problem. They teach you cherry picked studies with verses that they compiled together. And other than that, you have no idea of what the rest of the Bible says. So even though you think you know the entire Bible, what you actually know is only the verses that they've weaponized for you to use against other churches. So when you're actually reading the Bible, you're not really trying to read it to understand it. You've already been giving lenses through which to read the scripture and interpret scripture. And so that is what you're actually, what you're doing when you're reading. You're just looking for good arguments, to argue with other Christians, and you're looking to, perfect the sermons that they gave you, right, instead of trying to understand the words of God for what they truly are. And that's sad. um Hercules, Acts chapter 18 verse 28, Paul engaged in vigorous public debate refuting false prophets. Exactly. Okay, so I haven't, looks like I see clearly. It's not saying much right now. So we're gonna keep this. We're gonna I see one of my boys texting me privately. Yeah. It might be, bro. It might be. It might be. So we're gonna keep this going because I got somebody that's gonna join us here in just a second. Let's see what I see clearly says. He didn't debate to so oh man, I love this. Here comes the deflection. He didn't debate to debate. He preached in public, and when engaged in public, he refuted them, not engaging in debating sessions. You aren't distinguishing the two. Whatever you say, man, at the end of the day, it's hilarious to me that if these people were at Walmart talking to somebody who doesn't understand the Bible, someone that they know that they can bamboozle, if they try to push back a little bit, they're literally licking their chops because they're just going to attack, and try to make that person feel dumb. They're going to try to make that person feel like he's inferior and he's got the mark of the beast and we have this perfect truth. But the moment that someone that actually knows what they're talking about offers that same respect back to them, like, okay, I accept your challenge, let's debate, let's talk, even when I stated why I am willing to debate you, not so that I can say I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you, or vice versa, but for the benefit of the people listening, for your brothers and sisters. You won't do it. You know why? Because you know it's not going to go well for you. First of all, you're already disobeying your mother by being here, right? So I mean, what do you got to lose already? You're already disobeying her. You've already shown that you don't know what the scripture says. You're already twisting what the scripture says to try to fit your narrative. So I mean, you've already gone this deep. Why not just come on here? You know what I mean? Humble yourself. Okay, let's see. What else we got on here? Not it might be, He didn't debate to debate. Hello, brother. John 4321. Hello, brother. Well, hello, man. I don't know if that was directed to I see clearly or me, but either way, hello and what's up, and welcome to the live. I see clearly says don't assume. Don't assume, period. Not it might be, period. You don't know me. Have no idea what you're saying, bro. I'm sorry. Not whatever you say. John from Pakistan. Hey, we got people from Pakistan. What's up, man? Cool. I love to see it, man. I love to see it. How are things in Pakistan, bro? I've heard a lot of things. I've actually had a few people reach out to me from the Middle East. How are things over there when it comes to, WMS? Like, is it the same from what I understand, it's the same stuff over there, but can you confirm? Is it a little bit different? Let us know in the comments section. Uh, Hercules. He don't even know his own cult doctrine as well as us, though. Facts. I see clearly Jesus didn't stay with the opposers to debate. He left the area. He only preached to expose falsehood and preach the truth to those who want to do the will of God. Whatever you say, bro. Debating with those who already rejected Christ is not what it says. So what are you doing here? Again, bro, you're sounding so foolish right now, bro. Hopefully, one day, I hope that day is today. If not, very soon from now, you'll leave and you'll look back at this and kind of laugh at yourself, chuckle, and be like, man, I was lost in the sauce, bro, because it's not looking good for you. Hercules says he won't even answer my question in the comments, refuses to testify to whom his savior taught Eve represents. Facts, bro. Keep writing that question over and over, bro. It's crazy. Hey, Sarah, what's up, Sarah? How you doing? Sarah, I love having you here. So, by the way, for those who don't know, Sarah actually went to school. She's very educated and she actually majors in history. So, if you want to ask a question about history, go ahead and ask Sarah. Sarah is also a former member of the WMSCOG. And guess why? What is one of the reasons why she left? Because the history wasn't adding up. Go figure, right? Just another lie on top of lies. Okay, let's see. It says, John, I'm good, brother. Amen, man. I'm glad you're doing good, bro. Are you an ex-member, current member? If you need any help or whatever, let me know, man. Shoot me an email. My information's on the homepage of my channel. Let's see. I see clearly. Yeah, of course. You are just going to dismiss by saying whatever you whatever you say, bro. Whatever you say. Sarah, didn't Jesus debate with the rulers of the law? 100%. I think the only person here that's confused is I see clearly. That it's funny because look at the name. I see clear zero. I think that's actually a very factual name for you. You don't use you're seeing zero facts, right? So you only see what you want to see, right? Just like the WMS. Let's see. Hercules. I see clear in the chapter about spirit and the bride, the chapter about yes. Good. Keep hitting them with that one, man. Post the link on the chat. Okay. Just a second. All right. Let me see. Give me just a second. I gotta send this link to my friend. So keep going ham on the comments. I want to keep hearing what you guys have to say. And while you guys are doing that, I'm trying to find the link. Can somebody copy the link for? Let me see. Matter of fact, I can do it right here. Let me see. Um, Give me just a second. Sorry, guys, but I am trying to post the link on my YouTube channel on the chat. Okay. Here we go. All right. Should be posted now. All right. Sorry about that. Let's go back to. So, once again, I reposted. Should pop on there. I should have reposted the link to join. Okay, here we go. All right. Right. What's going on, man? Go back
Hey,
to.
how's it going? Here, one sec.
So
Let me
once again,
end it on
yeah,
the YouTube
posted. Okay.
just so I can join
Should
it.
pop on there. Let's see. All right. So right now I'm gonna keep reading some of these comments. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see what it says. John, in Pakistan, they don't disclose that their
One
mother
sec.
will
How's it
not
going?
live for they avoid this. In Pakistan, they don't disclose that their mother will not live for they avoid this. 100%. Yep. Sounds about right, man. Hercules, did the Western Roman Empire divide into 10 Germanic kingdoms? Great question, Sarah. I hope that you knocked that out. Let's see. Zero SSI ball, zero facts. WMSCOG had to remove the evidence. Facts. John, that lady doesn't debate publicly. She always has security with her. Exactly. This is crazy. Well, anyway, we got a special guest. We got a special guest. So we're gonna go ahead and introduce him real quick. Mitch, tell the people what you're all about now that you got more time, and go into what you wanted to talk about, my brother.
Yeah, definitely. Glad to be here. Thanks for hosting the live chat. My buddy Edgar actually helped me a lot when I was leaving the church. I'm sorry, I'm in a chat with like another cult actually, so yeah, it's kind of like dual right now from what I'm doing. But yeah, I used to be assistant overseer in the WMSCOG Church of God, and I just want to put this out there really quick for the church because I know you guys watch this stuff. If you guys are watching it right now and you guys try to do something against me or my family because my wife's still in the church, you're just proving to everybody that you guys are eating from the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Because you very clearly tell all the members that if you do this, you're disobeying God, you're eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and because of that, you're going to go to hell. So I just want to say if you guys try to do any actions, this video is going to be saved on YouTube and I'll use it later in a way to actually expose it. So of now, I'm not fully exposing the world inside Church of God, but I'm trying to do my part in actually helping members of part of other Asian cults that are really dangerous right now. World Inside Church of God is a really dangerous group, and it's because it's growing so fast. But there's other groups that are actually more manipulative and actually more harmful out there. But the World Inside Church of God is really it's not the best group out there. Let's just put it like that. But right now, I won't say all of them, but I have been joining other groups, especially the Asian ones, to actually do a little something different. My channel's name is Cult Audit, and the purpose of my channel is not just to make a video about a cult, but I'm actually going to join them and actually share my full experience and see if they're using harmful tactics within inside the group. The reason I'm doing this is because when these videos are posted, nobody can say, "Oh, that's a lie. You're just lying about us," because I'm actually going to be documenting the whole process. The one I wanted to share about now is one sec, sorry. The one I wanted to share about now is Eastern Lightning. The reason I want to share about Eastern Lightning is they're another Asian cult, but they're not out of Korea. They're out of China. This group is very dangerous. There's many allegations brought about by the CCP government about them murdering people or them cutting people's ears off because they leave their church. But we need to kind of take it with a grain of salt at the same time because this church is worldwide and there's never been any other type of allegations like this except for in China. And China hates Christianity and especially like a fringe group like Eastern Lightning, so they could have made a lot of this stuff up. It's hard to tell, but it's something we should be aware of with this group. But I'm not going to say it's factual at this point. I just think it's something that should be known. Ever since I joined this group is all over the world. They focus on house churches and they focus on a lot of online presence. So getting messages on Facebook, Instagram, they're reaching out to people like this all the time, just like the Shincheonji group does. And everything's online. They're doing online classes. They build you up to leadership. They manipulate you in the same way, saying, "Oh, you're missing meetings and stuff. Oh, then you're going to go to hell. That's Satan trying to do this." And when you work your way up in this group, in the same way that the other Korean cult says, they say, "Oh, everyone's evil. They're trying to hinder you, right? They're trying to persecute you." This is the truth. And what I want you to know about this group, and many, there might be even members listening right now to this video, but I just want to let you know, even just from a leader's point of view, a high up leader point of view in the church, our doctrine is not special. We're not the only group teaching the doctrine. They use the same doctrine, the three different ages. We have the age of the Father, age of the Son, age of the Holy Spirit. But
Yeah.
guess what they have? They have three ages too, but they just call them different things. They call it the age of law, the age of grace, and the age of the kingdom. But guess what? In our study, we say three different ages, three different names of a savior. They see the same thing. In the age of the law, there's Jehovah. Age of the Son, there's Jesus. But unlike us saying Ansang Hong is the savior, they say Almighty God, and they use revelation to do it. You think you're special? Oh, God coming from the east? Oh no. This church uses the exact same verses as you about coming from the east. God came from the east, but he didn't come from Korea. He came from China. But guess what they use instead? We say that there is a God the Father and God the Mother, kind of two separate entities, but they do something very similar. There's not God the Father and then God the Mother, but they say Jesus Christ came back as a female woman from China. And because of the persecution that was happening in the early 19, it started in 1991. They came from a group called the Shouters, and which was another cult in China, but a lot of them fled to America. And I still do want to be fair where fairness is due. This church is very persecuted in China in a wrong way because China does persecute people. They put them in jail. They torture people, and they do that to this group too, which isn't right, right? But that doesn't mean what they're doing is right either, right? So they're in America. They're getting a lot of older people in America involved in this group that are like kind of naive and looking for like some kind of community. And I even met a girl in my class named Carol. I won't say her last name. She's 82 and she's running classes tw 3 times a day, every single day for this group.
Wow.
And it's really bad the things they're doing. So there's a
Hey,
lot of
Mitch,
similarities with this group and other groups. But go ahead.
real quick, because there's somebody that just popped up in the waiting room, and I'm gonna let them in. So let's see if this is finally the moment of truth. Is it the member in the comment section?
Okay.
Are they gonna do something that where I'm gonna have to kick them out? Let's see. Here
No,
we
it's fine.
go.
I'm a respectful guy, so let's see.
Hey,
Luca,
Luca,
Luke Jean.
Luke Jean.
It's Luke Jean. I
Oh,
saw the
Luke,
link in the
dude,
chat.
love your videos,
Uh,
man. Love
Oh,
them. I
what's
thank
saw them
you.
with Chris and stuff.
I saw the link in the live stream. I was like, wait, is this Zoom link supposed to be here? Let me find out.
who are you again, bro? I'm sorry.
My
So
name's Luke Jean.
I can let you know who this is. This is Luke. He recently did a video with Chris, and also he just did a video with Adam. Our buddy Luke here, he's with the Unification Church. But the cool
Oh.
thing about Luke, I love Luke because he's actually open to discussing this stuff.
Wait, someone likes me. An anti-cult guy likes me. Someone in a cult? No way.
No, yeah, and Chris, not Chris, Luke. The reason we respect you, like even though we might disagree with you, the reason we respect you and like you, at least from watching your videos, is because you're actually open to dialoguing and talking to people. Shincheonji, World Messiah Church of God, Eastern Lightning, they don't do this. They don't actually come out and like dialogue with people. So even though you believe differently than us and like we disagree with you, you're actually open about talking to it. You're not like kind of scared. You're not hiding behind an umbrella. So how I would put it with you right now, like just what I believe, I don't agree with the Unification Church, but I'm not going to just call you guys a cult like people do because I don't agree with your teaching, but you're actually out here being able to actually talk to other people. You're not hindered from doing this. These other groups actually hinder people from actually being able to talk and discuss their things. So whether you believe in it or not, you know what I mean? We're really happy that you actually like will discuss with people, you know? So great work, what you're
Sure.
doing, Luke, actually. And I'm glad you can still share what you believe in, but you're still bringing people on that actually disagree, you know what I mean? But you're actually give them a platform and we can actually have a discussion. So we really respect that, dude.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I love dialogue. I mean, I even talked with a Nazarene Christian this weekend. Um, yeah, it's very interesting listening to those who like critical of the Korean groups, not just Unification Church, but like World Mission Society, Shincheonji, because it's like, okay, how much are these beliefs the same? What are the differences? Because there are quite a bit of similarities.
Yeah,
Um,
there are, and I like you brought that up because there are a lot of similarities in between these groups, like even yours, you know. Like you guys, the Divine Principle with Reverend Moon discusses a lot about like the root of David, the second Adventist, the coming on the cloud, and the other group I was just mentioning, Eastern Lightning from China. They use a lot of the same stuff. They also mentioned the coming on the cloud doesn't mean coming like from the heavens, right, and coming to this earth like at the second Adventist. But they say no, coming on a cloud means he's coming in the flesh. So unification teaches this, Eastern Lightning teaches this, and the World Mission Society Church of God teaches this, and they use the exact same verses. So it almost makes you wonder, like, where are they getting it from? I would
Mm.
personally say it's probably the Unification Church, and they built their doctrine off of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to say to Luke, man, thanks for joining, bro. I had no idea, so it's pretty fascinating to hear that you're a current member of the Unification Church. Okay, so I was thinking maybe he was like a former member, so you're a current
Oh,
member. So that's pretty cool, man. So let's do this. I wanna give Mitch just a few more minutes to explain what he would finish his point on what he was talking about, and then we'll give it over to you and see if you have any questions or whatever you want to talk about. Is that okay?
yeah, totally fine. I'm just popping in kind of last minute, so you're running the show here. So just
Okay.
I'll be
Take it
excited to
away,
listen to what you
Mitch.
guys are saying.
Awesome. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, thanks for joining, Luke. Again, still, I want to give my respects to you because you actually come out and talk to us. And I want this to like be known to all the members. Like, look, Luke is a current member of a group we disagree with in doctrinally wise. But guess what? He's actually out here talking about it. He's not hiding his beliefs, and he's actually open to talk about it. So we respect Luke. We're not here just to like, oh, Luke, you're wrong. You know what I mean? We're here to
So
actually
he
discuss these things. Yep.
so you're
Go
And
ahead.
saying
be
he's not
critical.
like
Like I'm totally okay with criticism on the theological front, on the psychological front, and on the what I forget the third category Chris likes to use, but I'm you know.
so you're telling me you're not like I see clearly in the comment section who's too afraid to come on here and debate. You're actually
Oh, is
on
that
here.
what's
So
going on? I saw something going
Yep.
on. I was like, okay, he sounds like maybe he's a World Mission Society member, but
he, not only will he not come on the actual Zoom call, he won't even answer Hercules' question that he asked him 100 times. But anyway, I'm sorry, Mitch. Go ahead.
yeah,
No,
floor is
yeah,
yours.
and
I'm gonna set up
yeah,
while I
again, yeah,
listen.
love it, Luke. Thanks for coming on. We respect you. And again, I've watched all your videos, not all of them, but at least the recent one with, Adam and also Chris and stuff. So, I like what you're doing. Good job. But the thing I'm explaining about right now is because I know you hopped on a little late, but I'm talking about Eastern Lightning in this group from China, right? So it has a crazy history. I'm not going to get into it now because I just want to give you guys just a quick understanding. Yeah, this group came from China. They believe Jesus came back a second time as a female woman. Um, but on top of that, they believe that the dragon in the Bible, the red dragon in the book of Revelation, represents the CCP government. So kind of very close to Xinyun, the dance group. What's their full name? I kind of forget their full name, but there's a lot in common with them on how they look at the CCP government and how they believe they are like prophesied, and how they're evil, which, they are communists, so it makes sense. They did get a lot of persecution from them. But I just want to bring some light on this group and what they're doing in America, because honestly, not much light has been shown on this group. And they claim about just as many members around the world as the World Mission Society Church of God does, roughly around 4 million. There's a massive online presence. It's very easy to actually point out any Eastern Lightning person just by their Facebook profile. So maybe, later we can go into detail on how we can spot them. And if you get messages, they also do infiltration of groups, just like Shin Shunji does.
Mm.
I'm actually in a training with the group to learn how to do this, like go into other churches and do this type of stuff. Um, so they're very similar in some aspects to World Church of God, but on other aspects, they're similar to the Shincheonji Church in Korea. Um, they're just very harmful. They take a lot of people's time away. And again, not too much apart from doctrine, because my channel isn't really to like bash on people's doctrine, but when their doctrine actually brings about things that kind of bring harm to people, like pretty much telling them like if your family doesn't believe they're evil, or friends, and like you kind of need to like shun them away. That's kind of in their doctrine. They have 7 books written by their female god. They're called the Word of God revealed in the flesh, or God's word. Yeah, God's word revealed in the flesh. There's 7 volumes, millions of words spoken. Just like the World Messiah Church of God, you can't just get these books online. Just like the
Mm.
Shincheonji, you can't get these books online. You have to work your way up in leadership, and then you can actually get their books. And if you leave, you have to return them, right? And the same thing, when you leave the group, you get shunned. So there's so many similarities within doctrine. That's why I mentioned there's coming on the cloud. They use the same verses. The 3 ages. They do the exact same thing. Three different names in three different ages. And they also have the same female entity, but the way we describe the World Messiah Church of God is different. So it's kind of interesting here because I'm talking about Eastern Lightning. They have Jesus came back as a female. World Messiah Church of God believes there's a separate God, which is God the Mother. And then Unification Church, you guys have Reverend Moon, who is our father. And then we have, um, I don't know, Miss Moon, who is technically like the idea of God the Mother, but you guys don't fully look at them like, of course, they're considered like our heavenly parents, our father and mother, but they're not really like God. Does that make sense? I think you understand that a little bit, Luke, better, right? With the Unification Church.
Yeah, and first of all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you great. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting when Adam asked me this question, he asked me very directly, okay, are Reverend and Mrs. Moon God? And from the easiest answer is to say no, because it's easier to say that Jesus also is not God. But Jesus and then Reverend and Mrs. Moon, because they're like Reverend Moon, the second coming of Jesus, Mrs. Moon, the bride figure. It's like Jesus is God from like the perspective of relationship, which unificationism sees as like a higher level, a higher plane of existence. But as an individual entity, Jesus is not God. So the same would be true for Reverend and Mrs. Moon. Are they as individuals God? No. And so, even I'm critical of my own church for, certain segments of it, like kind of taking the teachings and worshiping them. I don't think that's correct. But from the level of relationship, you could call them God. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And do you guys have any questions, at least on what I just said? Or if you don't, Edgar, you can share something too.
Yeah, no, I want to see in the comment section if anybody's got any questions for Mitch, because that to me that's pretty exciting, bro. Like, I mean, you're literally, infiltrating these other,
Yep.
churches, and they it's so crazy. Like, you must be like, I don't know how you must feel seeing the parallels. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
weird. I mean, like right now, this is a group chat that I'm in, and it's
yeah,
actually going on right now, and I'm copy and pasting for the group,
yeah,
and people are reading it. So, and they
that's
Oh,
share those
wow.
wild.
videos. So this is how they operate. Instagram, Facebook, this is what they do. And then kind of when you move, there's an 8 course basic course. And in this course, this is where they share with you God comes back in the flesh. They share coming on a cloud prophecy. And another thing I'd like to bring up in Revelation chapter 5, and actually I would like to understand also, Luke, what your guys' idea of this is, or even if you guys like really talk about it. But Revelation chapter 5 talks about like the sealed book, right? And Apostle John, he's weeping because this book is sealed. But then the angels tell him, "Oh, don't weep. The root of David, he's going to be able to open up this book and reveal it to you," right? So what I understood as a World Messiah Church of God member was, "Oh, this book is the Bible." Even though everybody has it, um spiritually it's locked. They can't read it, right? So this is what we understood about it. But with Eastern Lightning, they use the same verse, but they have a different interpretation. It's not the Bible. This sealed book is a new revealed word of God, God's word of judgment. When God comes back in the flesh, God is going to bring back a new revealed word. And they use the Bible to bring people in as like a sense of authority to gain their trust. But eventually you start to see that actually they take the Bible and they don't look at it as true and pure. And they start to bring people into the Word of God revealed in the flesh, these 7 volumes of books they have. This is where they start bringing people to. And I was also wondering, Luke, do you guys have anything on like, or have an interpretation on Revelation 5 with like the sealed book? Is that also something you guys like have an idea of, or?
Yeah, so Revelation 5, the unsealing of the scrolls, what that means is the second advent will reveal the new expression of truth. So the Bible and actually all religious scripture in the viewpoint of divine principle is expressions of truth. So it's like lowercase t truth.
Okay.
The expressions of capital T truth. And what the divine principle says is that the second advent will reveal the new expression of truth.
Okay.
That's how it phrases. So a new book, you could, yes. A new
It's
book.
so it's just interesting just since I've been like exploring these groups. It's like it's just interesting because I'm seeing so many similar like same verses being used. Some of the verses mean the same thing, but then they all use the same verses. Trust me. Like I've just been realizing a lot of them we're all using the same verses. Some of them are very similar in how they use them, but some are just like way off. So Revelation 5 is very similar with everybody. Unification, Eastern Lightning, Shincheonji. It's all like kind of the new truth, the new revealed word. The only difference we're Messiah Church of God, we use the same exact verse, but it's like it's not a new word. It's just we're kind of bringing back what was lost. We're bringing back the understanding of the
Right.
Bible, right? That's
Hmm.
what the purpose of the root of David is to be. And sorry, one sec with my chat. But yeah, that's kind of what. Sorry, one sec. Sorry.
No
Um.
problem.
Okay,
So
but yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Edgar.
yeah, I was just gonna mention, like, all those different perspectives. They're all so similar, even though maybe a slight bit different. But even when you look at like the most common Christian interpretation of Revelation 5, it's not any of those type of interpretations. There is no new revelation. There is no restored gospel. When you read Revelation 5 in context, it's talking about this book that is sealed, but the emphasis is on the seals itself. And the way you know that is when you continue to read, as you get to Revelation chapter 6, the Lamb begins to open every single one of these seals, and it's
Yeah.
judgment. And these judgments, there are four sets of judgment that are being drawn from the book of Ezekiel. And so when the Apostle John is writing this book of Revelation, he's drawing a lot of this imagery from the Old Testament. So, it's just very interesting to hear, you say that, both Mitch and Luke, because all these different perspectives is pretty crazy how they differ from, Orthodox Christianity. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
But continue.
yeah, I love how you shared that. And what's very interesting with these group, like at least the Asian groups, because obviously like JMS, I really haven't like dug into them, but I'm not like in the Unification Church. Like I've just like read a little bit about it and stuff, and just kind of understood the basics of it. Not in like an antagonistic way, but just like an actually like let me understand like basically what they believe. And what I've come to realize is the only groups that like fully match each other, that are so similar is Unification, World Messiah Church of God, and Eastern Lightning. They're very, very similar in aspects. Not all, right? Because of like the way of salvation works, the origin of sin is different, but like the use of certain verses and their idea of about like how God comes is so similar. It's really wild. But when you get other groups like Shincheonji, they're still using like Revelation, but they have stuff that's just like totally left field that like is completely different from the other groups. But this is my
It
idea,
actually,
and go ahead,
oh,
Luke.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say when they see the scrolls, like from my understanding, talking with Chris of exposing the cults, like Shinchan Chi really emphasizes the correct teaching. It's like
Yeah.
it's literally the teaching that was lost in the beginning in the Garden of Eden. And
Yep.
so literally it's the teaching being, you know, revealed again, being restored.
Yeah, they
When
have this.
I
Yeah,
was very
instead of
compelling.
you're right. Instead of it's a little different, but like I feel like internally, if you go deep inside SCJ and Chris, if you're watching this later, you prove me wrong. Well, not prove me wrong, but correct me. But it seems like they're building up to like Lee Man, he really is like the Messiah. They're not saying he's Jesus, but the way they picture him, because they compared him Jesus. They don't look at Jesus as God. They look him as pretty much like the promised pastor of the time, 2,000 years ago. He got the new revealed word given to him, and then he is now like in the same way, Lee Man He was given that spirit of God to reveal the word again that was lost. And the thing we do have with a lot of the groups is this idea of apostasy of the church. Now, will I say, just from my perspective, Aga, you probably have a different opinion on it. I think the gospel's always been there, but there were problems, it's true, Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox, they were like the only church for a while until like we had, the Reformation with like Martin Luther, 95th thesis. So it's not like the truth was lost. There was like a big corruption, I feel like, in the church for a while, but I feel like they go at it too much, right? and they say like it's just all gone, everything's gone, and then we need to start over. And then there's just like Joseph Smith, I came to restore the truth, right? Just like Lee Man-hee, I came to restore the truth. Just like An Sang-hong, I came to restore the truth. Just like Eastern Lightning, we came to restore the truth. But it's the same as Reverend Mu, I came to restore it. So it's like understanding what is it? You know what I mean? Because a lot of these Eastern groups, they use the same prophecies like coming from the East as well. So it's hard to fully grasp and like where it all came from. A lot of the stuff you can kind of understand like the morphing of like how these some ideas came up within early Korea. But what I'm really interested in is I think personally, this is my opinion, and I want to hear what you have to say about it, Edgar, after this, and maybe you, Luke. But I really personally believe the Word Messiah Church of God in their early days, like through you won't know this name, Luke, but through Suin, I really
Oh,
feel
I
like
know what that is.
yeah, okay, good. So Unification Church was already coming up. They were already known in Korea, even when On Sung Hong was around. They were growing so much. In the 70s, they already came to America. They were in the America in the 70s, 80s. That's where like their prosperous time. And if you ask me, I feel like the World Messiah Church of God is nowhere on writing. Nowhere on writing do they say it. But you can see these teachings from the Unification Church. I feel that World Messiah Church of God, what they're thinking is like, let me take their teachings they have, let us fix what we thought was a problem and why like it's not growing or why it made us might have stopped growing. Let's morph it and make it towards like, hey, now we're gonna take their playbook, but we're gonna try to make it better. And I feel like World Messiah Church of God took that playbook, try to make it better in the way they could, and that's why they're just growing like crazy right now. That's my assumption, but
Yeah.
what do you have for that, Edgar or Luke?
Yeah, you mentioned a few things there. First thing you said that was interesting, like you said, everything you said was interesting, but a highlight was restoring the truth.
Mhm.
I would say, and this is partly unificationist view and partly my view, I don't feel that, like, because you said the gospel was always there. Unificationism would agree from the perspective of saying capital T, truth has always been there.
Okay.
But that is what was lost at the beginning of history. So, and now I'm meshing my point of view and unificationist point of view a bit because
Hold on.
I would say,
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
sure.
Yeah, repeat that point again for me. I'm sorry, man. I was looking at the comment
No, you
section,
are
but
all good.
yeah, go ahead.
So what I was saying is, from the perspective of unificationism, the gospel wasn't what you would call the gospel. It would call just the capital T truth, or in unificationist terms, capital P the principle. That was what was lost in the Garden of Eden. And so every religion throughout all of history has been trying to recover that. And because, and this is what divine principle says, it would say, well, Jesus said, I have spoken to you in figures. The hour is coming when I return. That's what that's implying. The hour is coming where I will no longer speak to you in figures, but plainly of the Father. It's kind of like, okay, even Jesus was saying an expression of truth because there was more that he wanted to express about the capital T truth. And so unificationism would say it's not really restoring, it's more like recovering or uncovering. Because it was always there in the beginning, but all the religions throughout history are trying to recover it. And because Jesus the Messiah came to the Jews and the Jews that followed him were the Christians, Christianity is like that central religion that can elevate the expression of truth to like an even higher level. So I would slightly disagree with that in the restoring part to more like the recovering part. Um, the you mentioned also like the strategies of like how World Mission Society is like kind of taking from the Unification Church. I think that's really interesting because honestly, and most unificationists, I would put don't know the history of the Korean, groups or cults, as like people like Pastor Yang have talked about as how like uh, I know that on diffusing the WMSCOG that's been talked about. But Reverend Moon actually, he has his own take on the history of the Korean cults. He talks about all these people that, for example, Pastor Yang talks about. He talks about Baek Nam-ju, Kim Baek-moon, Kim Yong-do. He talks about all of these people. Now, it's all a lead up to the coming of the second advent, which he believes to be himself. he's not hiding that, but he doesn't refute the fact that actually there were people before him that taught, for example, that the Garden of Eden story was a sexual sin.
Yeah.
He even says, like, I didn't, I discovered it, but I wasn't the first to discover it.
Yeah, and it's true because even I mean, you're right. Like there is so many unique parts about the Unification Church. Like compare, like you know what I mean. I just feel like the World Messiah Church of God took certain parts. You know what I mean? That's how I
Yeah,
feel. It's hard to fully say, and
right.
but
It's
there was
like
other
that whole
groups
first
that
generation.
also took from the Unification in certain ways because JMS their pastor actually used to be a part of the Unification Church,
Yep, that's right.
and he brought up in the sexual sin. But he did some bad things, right? He used it in a very wrong way. But yeah, it's just crazy. It just feels like they're just building off each other. Like, hey, let's just take this and then like make something out of it.
Yeah,
What do you have
that
to say,
I
Edgar, on that?
totally agree.
So real quick, like when I hear Luke mention, what he said, you brought up something that I'm curious about because it almost sounded like World Mission Society when they talk to you about parables and they say, we're speaking to you in parables, right? Jesus always spoke in parables and only God's people are going to understand. And then there's this us versus them mentality. And right now you brought up a verse, you quoted a verse where, if I'm not mistaken, I think you quoted the book of John where you mentioned about Jesus speaking in figures of speech, right? And you said that Jesus mentioned there's going to be a time when he's no longer going to speak in these figures of speech. And you said that is going to happen when he comes back, correct?
Yeah, yep, that's what divine principles say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. Can we go to the book of John, chapter 16, verse 25? I promise I'm not going to make this super theological, but let's just go to this verse real quick. So, John chapter 16, verse 25 says, though I have been speaking figuratively, a time is coming when I will no longer use this kind of language, but will tell you plainly about my Father. That's the verse you referred to, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
And then it says in verse 26, in that day you will ask in my name. I am not saying that I will ask the Father on your behalf. No, the Father himself loves you because you have loved me and I and have believed that I came from God. I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father. Then Jesus' disciples said, now you are speaking clearly and without figures of speech. Now we can see that you know all things and that you do not even need to have anyone ask you question. This makes us believe that you came from God. So according to the scriptures, the verse that you quoted, this is not something that was going to be fulfilled in the future, but it was something that was fulfilled in the present. And so, in the same way that the WMS says that these parables, right, these parables are only going to be given to a certain people, and that only a certain people are going to understand these parables, yet Jesus taught his disciples and told them, right, to explain this to other people. Then these people who didn't understand by what Jesus is telling his disciples to go do, it kind of sounds contradictory. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus, obviously, according to John chapter 3, verse 16, wants the world to understand the gospel message. If he didn't, then he wouldn't have told his disciples to go make disciples of the entire world. Now, of course, there is free will is going to go into effect, and not everyone is going to understand the words of God or believe or want to turn to God. But nevertheless, God's heart is for the whole world to be saved. I just wanted to point that out because you mentioned that verse, but it just really reminded me of World Mission Society, and it's kind of like the same intent. But yeah, I don't know if you want to respond to
Yeah,
that.
I'd love to. Yeah. I didn't know that WMS had that similar teaching. That's really interesting. Um, so the verse you're talking about, if I'm looking a few verses past verse 32, hour cometh. I have like a King James. Now
Mhm.
is come, you shall be scattered, every man to his town, you shall leave me alone. Yet I am not alone because of the Father is with me. So that's clearly talking about, when he, once he dies on the cross and he resurrects, the disciples are scattered till the Holy Spirit comes, the Pentecost, and he's with his Father. But then it says, these things I have spoken unto you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. So when I look at that and I look at, so there's two things. When I look at this, to me, he's talking about the tribulation to come, the last days, as he, for example, he also talks about it in like Matthew 23, Matthew 24. Um, and the question is, and this is a very interesting question, like, did it already happen, like to the Christians of Jesus' day, to the disciples, or is it to happen later? Because there's the verse like, not a generation will pass away before, I've come again. Keep watch, keep watch. He always reminds the disciples. Parable of the 10 virgins, parable of the talents. And so all the Korean groups would say it means, all this tribulation, all this last day stuff is happening now. That's what they would argue, including the Unification Church. So it's like, do we believe that it's happening now or not? That's definitely a discussion. Divine Principle gives an interesting explanation as to why he even said, like, not a generation will pass. And it says that it was to encourage the disciples, in the, living out their faith amidst the Roman persecution, Jewish persecution. Even I struggle to understand that, honestly. But in terms of like speaking in parables and speaking plainly, when I read the Gospels, I see consistently that Jesus purposely speaks to the crowds in parables. And then he'll try and tell the disciples what they mean, but even they don't understand. In fact, in Mark and Matthew, which is the more recent Gospels I've read, like Jesus tells about his death and suffering and resurrection 3 times, and the disciples are either not understanding and they're too scared to ask, or they don't even bother asking what it means. And then to the crowds, he always speaks in parables, and even the disciples ask, like, why do you speak to them in parables? And so for me, that is clear evidence in context of the entire Gospels that Jesus means to speak plainly when he comes again. That would be my response to that, because that's good context you gave. I totally agree. But I would say that's used to illustrate a broader theme in the Gospels where he's speaking in parables to the crowds, which is most people, and he clearly is frustrated that even his own disciples don't fully understand everything he's saying, and that when he comes again, he will make things plain and cast judgment.
Yeah, and so what I would say to that is, I respect your opinion, but I feel that, again, no disrespect, but it sounds so similar to World Mission Society. Like, we read the context, you even agree the context seems to say what I said, but we still try to find other ways to make it say something that it's not saying in the plain reading of it. In other words, you have to piggyback on other things in order to make the way what we want to see in that scripture. We have to go to somewhere else to see that, because if we look at just this scripture alone in its context, it doesn't say that. And so again, I respect your opinion, and also to what you mentioned about the generation. The generation is another thing that I've seen so many of these Asian groups, talk about the last generation and, what that actually means. Right. And so you offered a unique, perspective, but even you said yourself, like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of confusing because what do you do with it? So many groups say so many different things. And I would like to offer to you that, maybe, after we get done with this, maybe we can set up a time. I'd love to give you my understanding of what that generation means, by diving into Matthew chapter 24 and Revelations and all that. But again, man, I have no beef with you, because I commend you that you actually, are brave enough to come on here and speak your truth, and it's so cool to me that you're doing it, because we're seeing in real time that there is no beef, there's no animosity. At the end of the day, everybody is free to believe what they want to believe, but we're always, as human beings, we're going to have our beliefs, agree to disagree. You know what I mean? We can debate the scriptures all day long, but at the end of the day, you can't force someone to believe the same way that you do. And I also want to mention again to the people in the chat, because I see the IC zero. I'm just
I
gonna
see
call him IC
zero.
I see
zero,
clear zero.
right? Because he definitely doesn't see anything clearly. He's still going off, you know what I mean, arguing with the wall on in the comment section, and he could have done what you did, you know what I
Did
mean,
you
and to
see how long?
defend
I
his
don't know.
faith.
Did you check his profile to see how long his profile's been up for?
No, I did not. I need
Yeah,
I
if
do
someone
need
I'll
wants
have
to.
to
to
look
check
back
in,
up.
put it in the comment. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have
yeah,
to look
somebody
back up.
check his
Because
profile.
usually, if it's and I'm not saying he's or he or she, because maybe they're a good old fella, but internet mission usually their profiles are pretty new. They just make new
Yeah.
ones.
Well, I mean,
But
yeah,
Luke, yeah,
honestly,
thanks everything you've said. Luke, there's a word I'd like to use for you, and I'd say it's a trailblazer. And again, not for
well,
like even though we disagree on stuff, I say you're a trailblazer in the sense of you're doing something that other people don't do. There's been two groups since we've been doing this whole thing on cults or groups we disagree with. There's been the people that leave and speak out, and then there's the people that are in these groups, but they will never talk about it online. And that's why I'm like, you're a trailblazer, dude, because yeah, because you're actually willing to discuss it, and that's why we love having you on because like it shows other people, even the Women's Side Church of God or any of these other groups we disagree with, come on. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna give you credit where credit's due. We're gonna give you the respect. We're gonna give you the floor. We're not gonna just sit here and bash you or argue with you because you actually came on and like you want to openly have democracy. You actually want to like talk about it, right? Instead of
yeah.
just being like a communist party where it's just like
Yeah,
and
cuts
well,
everything
and
down. And maybe
unification
you
is
get that from
himself.
Reverend Moon because Reverend Moon does not like the Communist Party. He
No,
was
he's
very
not.
democratic. So maybe you learn that from him and you're like, I gotta go share my truth
I was
Yeah,
going to
openly.
say one thing, and then I'll give the floor to Luke. Luke, I just want to say you're representing your church very well. You're representing them very well, because you're showing that you can come on here and be respectable. You know what I mean? Like you're displaying respect, humility. Meanwhile, we have members of the WMSCOG acting a fool on the comment section. The same people that are not even supposed to be here, that are already disobeying the one that they call God, and yet they're out here acting like buffoons. So I just want to say, thank you for carrying yourself the way that you do, and you have the floor, my friend.
yeah, I appreciate that. Honestly, I think of just representing myself more than my church, honestly. Although I do feel a sense of like, at least to the founders, like it's good to represent them. Like I feel personally that, Hak Jahan Moon is being detained in Korea. And while it's one thing to investigate, for me, it's like, okay, are you really going to deny her medical treatment? Like, are you really going to like not afford her like bail when she can't physically leave the country? Like, that's kind of the situation. So, in terms of representing the church, that's honestly the only part of it I feel most inclined to represent, besides my own beliefs.
Yeah, and I respect that. Like, I just want to cut in real quick and I'll have you finish. I'm like, yeah, I respect that. I saw there's like a lot of allegations right now in Korea with the Unification Church and like the political parties and stuff. I didn't read fully into it, so I'm not gonna say like I know what's going on. I just headlines. But yeah, I did see they detained her and stuff, and she's in a wheelchair. She can't really see. Didn't she just have like surgery recently
Yeah,
too?
they only let her out to have eye surgery, which according to, you know, I mean, let's be honest, maybe the internet doctors, but you need weeks of recovery at 82 years old to have like eye surgery so you don't get blind.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
nobody
goodness.
pick her back
That was
solitary
and I
confinement.
agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah,
like so like
solitary.
on these parts I don't really know the full story behind it. And again, since nothing's like there's no court like it hasn't fully gone through court yet, so we
Yeah.
can't really say anything. So yeah, like I agree everything that you
Yeah.
said. And you just said she's 82?
Yeah. She's 82. She is in a
Adam,
wheelchair, like
she's
you said.
82. Who
Yeah.
does that remind you of?
Who does that remind me of? I don't know.
Well, Adam, well, not Adam. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's talking to Adam, but Edgar, 82. Who's 82 right now?
Good old Zane.
Yeah, our
Oh,
heavenly mother
Zangyo
is
Ja?
82 as well, so it's interesting.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, regardless of how you look at it, it's like there, like you said, there's a difference between number one, like, investigating if there's suspicion that a crime's been committed. I'm all for that. And there's, one thing to disagree, right? And you just disagreed with me. That's fine. It's another thing in her case to be totally mistreated, put into solitary, not, you know, having access to any medical care. I mean, that's kind of where I'm like, all right, like we can disagree with these groups, and that's why I love talking with people who disagree with them, and still have some level of human decency. And for me, it's like I haven't read this ICO0 guy in the comments, but it's like really the most effective way to talk about your beliefs is to talk about them, because like I disagree with your response, and that's fine. I think the whole point is that it seems to me when I talk to you too, or I talk to Chris, or I talk to Adam, or I listen to the Cultish podcast or Greenlight Studios, the common thread I hear is like, well, there's some sort of secrecy. There's some sort of, they're not fully telling you the whole truth, or, Sinchonchi, wisdom of hiding. And it's like, is that really the effective way? Because actually the goal is to, I personally don't think that just because all these groups are like, their theology is from, Korea, and they all originate from the same source, and it's kind of outside the norm. For me, that's not enough for me to, discount what they're saying. But I think when they engage in things like wisdom of hiding, or some of the stuff you're talking about with the World Mission Society, it closes the door on being able to actually like talk about these ideas. And that's why, I like my church, because all the teachings are publicly available. Every book that the church has published, at least in English, right? I mean, there's like some books that are in Korean that just, they haven't been
You're
translated.
right, Luke. I actually checked it online because I'm like, I want to give me a copy of the Divine Principle, and I realized I could actually pick it up online.
Yeah, for free.
So,
That
Hey.
so I'm
one,
like, hey.
I mean, yeah, it's for this, it's free PDF. Anyone can read it anytime. It's like, you don't have to like, go to page 10 in the Google search engine. Like, it's right there. Um, and even the bookstore is publicly accessible. Anyone can technically order any of the books they have available there and ship it to their house.
So Luke, you're telling me your church doesn't tell its members, hey, don't read those books, but then when they actually read them, or whatever, they don't invite them to come for a private study to tell you what it actually means. They give you the liberty to
No.
read it for yourself. They allow people on the outside to read it for themselves. That's crazy to me,
Mm.
because that's honest. That's what an honest church should do, is offer all these things up front. Not the higher you go, the more we'll give you, we'll sprinkle a little bit of truth here and there. We'll give you level up in these type of places. We'll give you an extra book when you reach this level. We'll give you another book when you reach this level. You cannot find this book online. You can't find it on eBay. You can't find it on Amazon. The church will buy it out
Oh,
immediately.
wow.
Hey,
Yet I
how about you read the front cover of that, Edgar? What does it say in the preface? What does An Sang Hong say about it? This book and
let's
how
see. Yeah, let's read it.
who should receive this book? Let's see.
So this is the preface of this book, the Green Book. It says, this book is about the last secrets of God, which have been hidden only for the last remnant. As it is written in Malachi chapter 4, verse 5 through 6, the last chapter of the Old Testament, see, I will send the prophet Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord comes. He will turn the hearts of their fathers to their children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers. And in Amos 3:7, surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan secret to his servants, the prophets. Now the time has come, and the everlasting kingdom of God is near. So all the secrets sealed in the Bible, Isaiah 8:16, Daniel 12, 4, 9 through 10, Revelations chapter 10 through 4, must be revealed. Revelations 10:7, 22:10. What is the order of Melchizedek? And what does the history of King David represent? Will Jesus come with fire to judge at once, or will he appear in the flesh to testify about the truth and then come as the judge on the last day? All of these considerations should not be taken lightly. Whoever thirsts for the truth needs to study this book. This book is worthy to be read not only by the general believers, but also by pastors and professors of theological schools. As it was at the time of John the Baptist at Jesus' first coming, so it will be in the last days. The last truth will not come out from a big church. It will be shouted in the wilderness. Whoever reads this book with a humble mind will understand it. Now is the time of the end to gather the elect from all sides. Whoever thirsts for the truth, please study this book. If you cannot understand it fully, visit us without hesitation. Face-to-face study will lead you to a better understanding. As you see in the contents, these are the secrets of God, which you could have never learned in other churches or theological schools. Whoever studies this book will understand it completely. And whoever wants to do the will of God will acknowledge this book as the last notice from God. John chapter 7, verse 17. Please study this book seriously and visit us. The author, Ansan Hong.
So I wanted to point out a couple of things from what you just said. So the last part it said, um, whoever studies this book will understand it completely. So they should just be given out to anybody. They'll understand it, they'll come to the truth. And it also said towards the like kind of middle, it said, this book isn't just for it's for anybody who's seeking the word of God, who's seeking the truth. Are we not all seeking the truth? But yet you have to be a part of the World Messiah Church of God to have it. And secondly, he said, this book is not just for the general congregation. It's for pastors, people a part of theological schools. He's not mentioning his theological schools. He's mentioning all. So this is why Luke, I give you guys a lot of credit. And again, you already know, I've seen your videos, and I was open to you. I don't agree with the Unification Church, but that's fine, right? But I'm a very fair with my new channel Cult Audit. This is this type of stuff I'm trying to do is I will be honest, Luke, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I did think they had cult-like practices before, right? Apart from doctrine, apart from if I think the belief in it's crazy or not, that's okay. You believe what you want. Freedom of religion, whatever. But their practices before were very, I thought, harmful or cult tactic like. However, nowadays I've seen a big shift within the Unification Church, and they've become more like very open, very just honest with people and stuff like that. And that's where like I give the respect where respect's due. So if somebody asked me right now, Mitch, is Unification Church a cult? If you had to ask me, I'd say depends on the time. I hate to say it, but depends on the time because now they have a belief I don't agree with. I don't agree with the doctrine, which is fine, but I don't think they're using tactics anymore that are harming people and stuff like this. Before, maybe different story, right? And that's why I respect you because they have their books online. You can see their books online. You can actually come on YouTube and discuss this stuff openly with us. And like I said, you're being a trailblazer right now for these groups. And it's amazing. And yeah, I'm thankful for it, to be honest with you, what you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, as a Unification Church member, it's like the church has engaged in what you could categorize as coercive and manipulative practices, particularly in Japan with fundraising. I think even the church has admitted it at this point. And I think it's terrible and it needs to be called out. Thankfully, the church is now, without a court order, partly because like they've had other legal problems, but now they are, putting like they're paying out money to victims. It took a lot to get to that point, before they voluntarily do that, but they are voluntarily doing that. And for me, it's like every institution is a collection of human beings. And so collections of human beings bring up power, and power is always a temptation, and that leads to mistakes. mean, that's why the Catholic Church has had, and as most recently with the sex abuse scandal, priests like big mistakes, like Protestant churches, mega church pastors, big mistakes. And our church is no exception. And I think there's two sides to that. One, it's that anyone who is still in our church, I don't think there's many Unification Church members who say, like, our church, like the church is the institution, is special. Many members will say the teachings are special, but the church as an institution, is it special? Most would say no, but for the people that do, I would say take a look. Japan, coercive manipulative fundraising practices. Korea, top leaders of the unification movement being investigated for, breaking, Korean law as it relates to politicians. But on the other side of the coin, it's like Unification Church is an institution. It shouldn't be dissolved or seen as lesser just because it, like other religious institutions throughout history, have had problems because
Yep.
human
And
beings
I love how you bring
power.
that up, and thank you, for your point, and please continue after. I just wanted to bring something up because it just popped in my mind, and this is what I, in a sense, I respect because I think, yes, I do think there was many manipulative practices before with the Unification Church. Um, but of course, I do agree, they're just trying to defend, at a time they were like, oh, we're just trying to defend ourselves, but it comes to a point with these organizations where you're going to get big and things are going to come out. But the problem is, you got groups out there that no matter what happens, they either try to hide it, they'll never admit it, and they make members always think we are perfect. There is no problem at all. There is nothing wrong at all. And if you doubt that, you are pretty much looked at as you don't have faith, you don't believe, and pretty much you can get out. And we need to look at the Bible. The Bible's even open about stuff. Judas Iscariot betrayed the Savior, right? Demas, a part of God's church, he betrayed. He left Paul. It's already shown there. There's betrayers. There's people that the Satan tries to enter the church. Look what Apostle Paul is saying to Galatia. There's these problems going on in the church. Even though it was the truth, sinful nature is still on this earth. And it's like that with any organization. And it makes me feel better to be a part of an organization that might have had something happen, but they're open about it and they're honest and they said this happened. It's not to reflect the whole, you know, institution, but it's like to say, hey, this person messed up. We're going to be honest about it. This is what happened, and we're going to fix it. We're going to make sure it doesn't happen. I'm going to respect a church more that does that because they're actually repenting. They're open with the congregation about what's happening. But when something happens in the organization, even a one person, they try to protect their whole organization and they don't even want to just expose that person for doing wrong. They want to hide the whole thing because they're taught in these organizations we are perfect. There is no problem. You can never say anything bad about leadership. Even if a leader is doing something bad, you cannot, no way. You can't point that out. He's appointed by God. How dare you? That's how it is. And you're looked very down upon. But I really respect, at least from what I see with the Unification Church. Again, you already know this, Luke. I disagree with them. But at least you guys are being open about things now, right? I'm glad you
Yeah.
can actually come on and speak about this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And like, has it always been like that? Like, no. But if you talk to, this is just the experience in America, if you talk to any, what are called second generation unificationists, almost every single one, whether they're at church every Sunday helping out, doing all the programs, or they kind of just pop around once or twice a year, everyone criticizes the church. Like people my age, they always have some complaint about the leader. Even the leaders complain about, what's happening in international headquarters run by Korea. Like, for me, it's like, I think this is just maybe this is just my experience, but criticizing leadership is not like unusual in the unification movement, at least now, in my time in it. And yeah, it's like I mean, if you look at it from a holistic perspective, unificationism and all these Korean groups, all of them, are super young. Like they're at maximum maybe 70 or 80 years old. Like in the history of religion, that's young. And you have a lot of movement and shifts, in the early stages of religion. Same, with Christianity, a lot of moving parts, a lot of work it took to come up even with the Bible as like a one scripture that's everyone uses, because there were different copies of the gospel around. You had different Christian sects, like the sect of Mary Magdalene, and eventually you have the Gnostics, and you have this and you have that, and it's like, who do we believe? Arianism. And then they eventually create a unified doctrine, a proper way of teaching. So for me, it's like unification is very young. And so if it can, and it's doing now for the past like many years, like change from, hiding mistakes in the shadows to being open about the mistakes like they are doing, then I see it having a very positive future. For these groups, from what you guys are telling me, it doesn't seem like that's happening. And the history of religion will show that it will probably eventually break up into more and more pieces until it's just gone, And if the unification movement keeps doing what it's doing now, it won't end up like that, I don't think. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, no, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And as you know, Luke, probably, me and Edgar, we want everyone to, believe just in the Bible, right? It's just the way we are, right? It's just what we believe. But we understand not everybody's going to believe in the Bible. We want everyone to, but we know not everybody will. But what I think we care about is just these people at least having information out there and being able to openly discuss things to where they're not manipulated, lied to. They can actually at least get the information and they can make a mature, honest decision if they want to join a religious group or not. Um, of course, we want everyone to believe just in the Bible. But like you said, I'm just glad, your group is being more open and they are open about criticism. I mean, Reverend Moon's son, as you know, he runs the AK-47
Yeah.
group in America.
Yeah.
The
What?
AK-40,
Not unification.
it's okay, it
It's
isn't.
the
No, but
fake
he split
unification.
away. He split away, but I'm glad like they're honest about it. They're like, yeah, no, that's false. Don't follow that. Um, yeah, it's pretty interesting, but like I'm glad they can actually like discuss these things, right? And they're open
Yeah.
about it. World Messiah Church of God, Shincheonji, Eastern Lightning, there ain't no way they're gonna tell you there's a single problem in their church. And if they do, it's only ever going to be, oh, it was that leader of that church. That's so that, but you can never say that. But it's only they'll only blame it. They only blame it on the lower leaders. Never head office. Never the head honchos. No way. But go
Yeah.
ahead, Edgar.
And it's like, my goal on my channel is, let's talk about unificationism, like in that kind of honest, like dialogue and spirit of discussion, where you can disagree about theology and it can still be a fun conversation. It adds something to, the world of ideas, and everyone wins. I mean, that's why I like talking with other people. It's like, I want to see what ideas are in, their theology. And that's why I enjoyed talking with Chris and Adam, because I got to learn more about Shincheonji's theology, World Mission Society's theology. Mother God in particular really interests me because of, the teachings of unificationism. I talked with the Nazarene Christian recently. I got to learn more about that perspective. It's like, and people get to learn about unificationism, which is something that I want to, bring to the world. But it's sad. If, and I've never been a part of these groups, so I'm just relying based on what I've seen from people like you guys and Adam and Chris. It's like, but I mean, any current World Mission Society member or current Sinchon-chi member, you can message me and I will give you an open floor to talk about your theology. And I will ask questions that aren't even aggressive. They will not be aggressive questions. I will have anyone on who's a current member of those groups, or any group, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, anyone. But we'll see if what you guys are saying is correct and that no one will come on. Or, I hope you're wrong, honestly. I don't know these groups well enough, so maybe I'm being more optimistic than I should. But that's the big thing. It's like, if we can get away from, oh, the institution, oh, you're a cult, oh, you're this, and get to like, okay, what do you actually teach? That's why I don't like people calling the Unification Church a cult, because it's like, okay, when will we ever get to the teachings? Which most people I've seen on the internet never say, oh, I left because the teachings were just wrong. I didn't agree with it. I thought it was, totally incorrect interpretation of the Bible. I thought it was all meant to, prove that Reverend Moon is the second coming of the Messiah. And that's why I left. It's always, I experienced this in the institution, my parents, the leaders, I was, coerced to do this or that. And it's like, okay, but like you're you're clumping in the teachings with all that. You're clumping in teachings that are seen by unificationists as like, God's word with humans acting in immoral ways in a human-made institution, because that's what human beings do. That's what human beings do. They make mistakes, which is why I tell people never put your faith in the church ever, because you're just putting your faith in human beings and you will always be let down eventually. Maybe you're lucky you have a really nice guy who's your leader, for 10, 20 years. But what if he leaves and then another guy comes in and it's like, then he's trying to coerce you to, make donations that financially shouldn't,
Yeah.
which kind of happened in Japan in a lot of cases. There's that coercion towards donations. And it's like, well, if you put your faith in, God and teachings rather than church and leaders, I feel that's a very healthy preventative measure. Now, will that solve everything? Maybe not, but I think that's a healthy preventative measure. And that's why I would disagree with just the categorization of cult in
Yeah.
part because
And
it clumps the
it's a broad
teaching.
term too. I mean, I think anytime we come up and bring up the term cult, just because it's been thrown around a lot and has changed over the years, I think anytime we talk about it, we should probably define our terms on what we're interpreting the cult as, right? Because some people may interpret a cult just because they believe differently doctrinally wise, but others might interpret it as coercive, harmful tactics, stuff of this nature. And that's kind of where I go into it as well. I don't know, Edgar may have like a different idea on like a cult, but mine is like, hey, you can believe what you want to believe, even if I disagree with you. But if your doctrine does bring in tactics that are harmful and are going to harm people, I'm still going to bring those out. And, I don't, again, I don't want to get into people's doctrine, call them a cult just because of what they believe. But if their doctrine is harmful, or if that group is using very harmful tactics like abortions, um, forced marriages, like just very bad things, manipulating to get money, lying about history, these kind of things are very dangerous. And this is what I think I would interpret a cult as. But what do you have to say, Edgar?
So yeah, man, I'm enjoying the conversation. From what I've gathered, there was a lot said. I'm gonna try to just say a few things from what I remember, what you guys mentioned. One thing is about when Luke brought up about or no, that was you, Mitch. You were bringing up about how churches, they accountability, right? So some churches they mess up, but it's like they blame their members, and they don't acknowledge these things. And I think that that's very important because that shows the integrity and the honesty of the church in question, right? So a lot of the times people, there is, I agree, there's a lot of evil things that goes on in these churches, but the difference is that if, is the organization hiding the person, right, who did said thing, right? Are they trying to defend them? Are they trying to cover it up? Or are they acknowledging it and doing something about it, right? Instead of trying to flip it around on the members. I think that's what the WMS and other places like it do. I think there's accountability that is, comes into question when you talk about groups like this. Now, when Luke started talking more about like on his perspective of like the Unification Church, there was a lot, but one of the things that stood out to me the most is when you were talking about when members, you hear members speak out against the Unification Church, that it's usually my experience. I had a bad experience with the leader. I had a bad experience with, the church or with said person or whatever the case, right? But their experience is not doctrine, and to not know how to compare, separate the two. What I would say to that is the same thing that World Mission Society Church of God members do when they say, all these people that are talking about us, they're only talking about their experience. They're only talking about, that somebody hurt them, but these are human beings and no one is perfect. So that doesn't do anything for the doctrine. And so what I have to say to that is yes and no. I am a Christian. I believe the Bible, but even the Bible tells you that through their, Jesus clearly says, if you want to understand who a true prophet is, look at their fruit. He says, through their fruit, you will recognize them. So if these type of, to say that these type of organizations, just if they preach a certain study or something that you like, something that makes sense, but the fruit that they're displaying is not godly, then according to Jesus, not my interpretation, not my word, according to Jesus, these people are not true disciples, right? And so what I would say is that people that are operating through the Holy Spirit, the fruit manifests and you can see it. They're patient, they're kind. You don't, not to say that they're not sinners, right? No one is perfect. And if you're, that's why when people ask me, where do, Edgar, now if I leave the WMS, if I leave this cult, where do I go from here? Where do I go? Where is the truth? I say you're asking the wrong question. It's not where do you go, it's to whom do you go? You go to Jesus. See, we don't need to go to a specific building to look for salvation. That's not the purpose of why the Bible tells you that you need to go to church. Church doesn't equal salvation. Church is a place that the Bible tells you to gather together, right? It tells you gather together, right? As you see the day approaching. But the spiritual understanding of the church is what? God's people. We make up the church, right? So if the building itself is not there, but the gathering is at a park, guess what that is? That's church, right? And so the church, the purpose of the church is to edify, to build one another up, right? To cover up one another. That is the purpose of the church. Salvation comes from Christ, not from the church. And one thing that I see that's very common from organizations like a lot of these Asian movements, like these restoration movements, a lot of even culture in the United States, is they make it about a specific place. Unless you come to my church, there is no salvation. Unless you could, and they have different names for it: the temple, Zion, right? The camp, the Hebrew Israelites call it the camps. There's so many different names for it, but ultimately what they're trying to do is they're trying to tell you, unless you come here, everywhere else is not good. It's either Babylon, the den of the devil. It's so different things, right? But anyway, the point is there's no salvation there. Only if you come to Zion, right? Only if you come to these places. And a Christian, the difference is if you run into a Christian on the street, and the Christian is trying to tell you about Jesus, he's like, well, where should I go, right? Are you trying to invite me to your church? A real Christian is going to say to you, well, it's not if you can't come to my church, that's fine. I just want you to go to a Christian church that teaches the Bible, that preaches the gospel, that believes in Jesus Christ. And so it's not about a specific place, but they're pointing you to a specific person, which is Christ. And I think that there's a big difference in what I see in a lot of these movements is they're trying to only steer you to a specific place as if they are the only ones who have the truth, instead of pointing you to Christ. But that's just the way that I see it.
Yeah, that's a interesting way of seeing it. And if we take your perspective, right, that a true Christian will say, if you can't come to my church, go to any Christian church, then that would make a lot of mainstream Christian churches be liable to be not called a cult, but at least discussed as a possible cult, because those churches are saying we are the one true church, and this is the church where you can achieve salvation. Catholic Church is the one and only holy apostolic church. Orthodoxy says the same thing. Many Protestant churches say the same thing, and many of these groups from Korea say the same thing. That's and what's more, I mean, many religions, like Muslims, for example, they say this is the only way to, have salvation. Many groups, many religions say that. And I don't think that is a adequate identifier in discussing a group as a possible cult, in my opinion. And
real quick,
yep.
I'm sorry, respectfully. There's a lot of Christian. I haven't met one Christian in any of the churches that I've gone to or any of the people that I've talked to that's approached Christians that say, my church claims to be the only one true church. And when I said about Christians going to church, right, I didn't say just go to any church. I specifically said the two things that Paul lays out in the book of Thessalonians, where he says they must know who Jesus is and they must know the gospel. So there are prerequisites of these, they're you know what I mean, things that need to be followed. When you don't just walk into any church. Any church can slap the name Jesus and be teaching you about Ansan Hong, you know, all these different people. My point is, you know, you have to know what the gospel is. You have to know who Jesus is. And again, you made an assumption. You said Christian churches and all these churches, they claim to be the one true church. Like I said, I'm telling you from experience, there's multiple Christians, even some here on the chat right now, that don't believe that way. They don't say we belong to the one true church, because again, the understanding of the church is the body of Christ is what the Bible says. So we're not looking at it as we need to go to the one true church, which is a building, you know what I mean, a specific location. But anyway, continue.
No, yeah. I want to make clear, I totally agree with you. Jesus clearly says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He says that very clearly. And so I agree totally with what you're saying. I'm just saying that it's like to group those churches who say that, even if the members, so like the Korean groups, they say that a lot more than, say, the average Catholic, right? Like that, like, let's be honest, like that's the truth. Korean groups more often say, like these groups that we're talking about say, you know, come to us, like this is where the new truth is, all these things. Catholics don't really go that far, but in their doctrine, it's very clear that they're the one true church, and Orthodoxy says the same thing. So for me, like I said, I agree with what you're saying totally, but I wouldn't use that to call any church a cult. Now, Unification Church, Mitch, you were talking about, like, okay, like one of the categories that you do look at is coercive and manipulated practices, and I agree that the Unification Church, based on, you know, the activities that they've done, in particular Japan, with fundraising tactics, I agree they, in their history, have fit into that in that category.
Mm-hmm. And again, even like you said, you know, there's groups out there that have, we can say, someone called cult tactics, right? There's differences between a cult and a dangerous cult, you know, if you ask me. And there's groups that have, okay, we can't say every, because I guarantee you there's almost every church out there, they do something that's a little, not like non-biblical or like not against their teaching, but they do a little something that's like, sometimes like, hey, yeah, it's a little culty, but it doesn't mean it's just because it's like they have some tactics that are cultish doesn't mean they're like a bad place to go. But there's a difference between a high demand religious group that is dangerous and harming people than, like, you know, other groups. That's why we call them like a dangerous cult.
I,
So
yeah,
that's why, like, I bring up with like Unification Church, if we go back, I'd say more like 30 years, because they had some like cult things that happened, especially like in Japan more recently, right? That were like some cultish behavior. And but the good thing, it was like it was known, right? And they even addressed it, which is good. You know, if we go back 70s and 80s and 90s, there was like there's sorry. I'm just like, yeah, they were pretty cultish, right? But yeah, now do we agree with you guys, your doctrine? No, right? Obviously. But yeah, just me personally. Obviously, I guarantee you there's gonna be people in this chat. They're probably gonna say differently, and that's
of
fine, you know.
course, totally fine.
Because even me and Edgar, like, we love each other to death. We do believe like the Bible's only the truth, the way of the truth, the way, and the life, and this way we need to follow, and we need to follow Jesus Christ through those teachings. But we have disagreements, but they're always like secondary issues and stuff like that. And you know, even politics, and again, definitions of cults too. We all got kind of like, I think, our own little idea of how we think about them. But the good thing is,
Mitch, no,
go ahead.
no. You are my spiritual enemy now for saying that.
Good.
Well, I don't know
Good.
what I am if that's the case.
I I have been blocked. He just blocked.
I hope the World Mission Society is listening. All three of us don't agree on every single
And
thing,
no,
and
you know what's
yet
crazy, Edgar? I don't think any live stream's ever been like this. So think about this. First off, this is my first time ever on. And because of my position, the church probably ain't gonna be happy about it if they find out, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. But it's only gonna look worse on them if they do. And secondly, Luke, I don't think Edgar really knew you before this, but I saw you from your other videos with like Adam and them and that stuff. So it's like very unique perspective. We got Edgar, who's been exposed in World Messiah Church of God forever, talking about them for some time. Me, ex-member, but infiltrating these cults, and then Luke, a member of a completely different group. Like, so it's a very we haven't had a live stream like this before,
No, it's
ever. So
great.
it's pretty interesting.
I expected to go to bed actually like
Me
hours
too.
ago, but it's okay. And yeah, I honestly like I actually did a 20-page capstone paper on
Mm,
whether the Unification Church was a cult, and I did a lot of research into okay, what are the definitions of cult? And they, coercive manipulation, uh, love bombing was a big thing, and what and other categories or like parts of the definition of cult. And what I came to the conclusion of, honestly, was like, okay, I just don't. I think there's either two options. We tone down the connotation of cult, which is very difficult because it's ingrained in the English language, as a kind of a negative connotation, or we don't use the term cult for a lot of these churches, including the Unification Church, even if it, for example, has been shown that they engaged in, coercive, donation practices and fundraising practices. That would be my view, and that's why I still don't say the Unification Church is a cult, even though throughout its history there have been parts of its history that fit that definition. And also, it's like because I don't want to call the Catholic Church a cult. I don't want to say, oh, it should be, shut down because all the, priest scandals and sex scandals and all the, the hiding and the manipulation from like all the, church leadership. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I mean, because I've made the case that the Unification Church should not be shut down in Japan, which the court ordered that that's what should happen. It should be dissolved due to its donation practice. And my response is like, do you really want to set that precedent? Like, do you really want to do that? Because that would put a lot of churches at risk of being shut down.
yeah,
Like
and
I said, Edgar, I totally 100% agree that seeking Jesus and his truth should be primary over any specific church. I would even argue that Reverend Moon taught that as well with regard to not even wanting to establish his own church. That's just like unificationist teaching theology. But regardless of that, it goes back to it's like we could have a theological discussion. And also it's like, but there's like this bigger thing that you guys keep pointing out. It's like, where's the acknowledgement of mistakes of the past? Where's the acknowledgement that a church can't ever be fully perfect, because it sounds like what you guys are saying is like in World Mission Society, for example, like anything that the church may have done wrong is not blamed on the church at all or whatsoever. And that's not in their favor. Like I said, I don't know this group very well. I've studied Shincheonji teachings a bit. I actually read one of their books, the New Heaven and New Earth, I think, and I can give you my opinion of it. I thought it was very weak, mainly because the writing style just was bad. I don't know if it was the translation or like, but Lee Man-hee did not come off as like, well thought out. Like it all goes back to like, you need the correct teaching, you need the correct teaching. And it's like, okay. Like that was my opinion. I haven't read World Mission Society literature just because, like you said, they don't make it publicly available. And when I saw you interview Edgar with Great Light Studios, I was like, wait, he has secret books of the World Mission Society? Like, I want some. Like, but you know.
Yeah,
So
and
there's
yeah,
a lot of like digital copies, online. We could send you, some links after this.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, and so I'll say this, we're because I did not anticipate to be going this long.
yeah, I don't think any
So
of us did.
No,
That's good.
no.
yeah, so I want to say, Luke, I want to thank you for joining us. I do kind of want to wrap things up, so I kind of want to I want to talk with you more maybe in the future. You can send me an email. I got my information on the homepage of my YouTube channel.
Oh, good.
I love
Absolutely.
to talk with you and exchange some information, and then maybe we could work together in the future. Maybe that whatever that looks like, I don't know, could be a debate, could be, just exchanging information. I'm open to anything. You know what I mean? I love it, and I'm very thankful that you came on and that how you represented your church, man. Kudos to you. But I kind of want to wrap things up where I'm talking with Mitch and discussing some things that I want to ask him. But I really appreciate your time and coming on here, man. And hopefully that we can stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely stay in touch. And anyone watching, like, this is what it's all about. It's all about discussion, and don't be afraid to come on. I felt very, I felt a good mix of welcoming
We
and
attacked you, right, Luke? I'm just kidding.
yeah. Well, I mean, I
And
felt
you attacked us. I'm just kidding. No, we didn't.
like welcoming, but also pushback, which is good, because if you guys just came on like, oh wow, hi, no, let's tell it. It's like, I mean, okay, like, but you
That ain't
push,
me.
yeah, and I like that you pushed me, and I like that. I really do, and I think that's what's going to make for discussions that benefit all of us and whoever's watching. So, thank you so much for letting me jump on the stream, and I'll let you guys get back to
Yeah.
it. I'll
Take
probably go
care,
straight
Luke.
to bed, but I'll catch
Appreciate.
the
Thanks
rest
for
of the
coming
stream
on, man.
later. Yeah, no
Have a
problem.
good
Thank
night,
you.
man.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
All right,
Yeah, that was awesome. We're glad we were able to
man.
talk to Luke.
And then there was two.
And there was
So,
two.
Mitch, I just got to say something, bro. Before we even talk about anything, like I said, he outstanding guy, man.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah.
kudos to him. Very respectful, and looking forward to talking with him, more. But we got to address the chat, bro, because the chat, I
Oh,
just kind of, I keep turning my head and I'm looking at the chat,
can
and
somebody
this
check for me? Can
guy,
someone check I see clear how long their channel's been up for? Like that's a big thing, guys. So if
bro.
somebody can check it,
This dude has been wasting his gospel life on this live for, I don't know, going on almost what, 3 hours now,
honestly,
somewhere around there.
I've never got it, Edgar, because we're told this you don't do this. Like it's you're literally eating. I'm sorry, and I'm telling you right now, I don't know, I clear. I'm just being honest with you. Like, hey, dude, at least like you're doing it. But I'm just being honest. Like I want you to come out. If you want to stay there, cool, dude. That's up to you. But dude, we've been told, man. Like I was a leader. Like you don't look online, and if you do, you're eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and you're disobeying mother, and that's like pretty much a death sentence to hell. I hate to say it, but it is. But then Roman Side Church of God on the same time at the same time, if these people are talking on it, so it's one or two things. Actually, one or three things. You're either a new member and you haven't been told this stuff yet. Second, you're a current member, but you're disobeying Heavenly Mother, and that's almost the worst case scenario. Or you're the third case where you've already been told all these things, but then the church comes to you, hey, we want you to actually watch these videos and actually comment on them. But it's just like, okay, so I'm allowed to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and it's okay. Uh, it just, something ain't right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something ain't lost in the sauce, right? Like you would say, something ain't
And
brewing right.
and I'm looking at the comments, and I see a lot of people. And shout out to my boy Will. I see Will on here, but I also see Adam on here, and I was watching that Adam and IC have been trading jabs left and right, but I hear IC Zero say that Adam doesn't know the Bible, and I just have to say that is just not true. Adam would slice him up when it comes to the scriptures, and so
Oh
this
yeah,
is
dude.
what
Adam ate
this
that
is.
scroll. He ate it.
This, this is the point. Like, they're all talk on the comment section, right? They're all emotional. They're, what I mean. And I get it. This is a sensitive topic.
It is,
But
yeah.
if you're already on the chat, if you're already disobeying them, if you got all this time to spend to go back and forth with Sarah, with Amy, with Adam. Why not hop on the chat? I mean,
And
we're literally
that's what
right
I'm
here.
saying. This is what I'm thinking. Maybe he's trying to be a good son or daughter of Heavenly Father and Mother. And, maybe he's like, hey, I'm not going to watch the video. I'm actually going to mute it. And I'm just going to talk on the comments. And I think that's what's going on because we've been talking about him, but he hasn't been posting at all about us. Like, and we've been talking about him. So
No.
that's my conclusion.
This guy, I mean, he's either internet mission or he's just, I don't know,
Yeah,
he's
it's one
just
of
lost in
three.
the
It,
sauce.
it's
Yeah.
one of three. But it's hard to say. And I would tell you guys if you want to be pretty clear on if it is probably internet mission, if you guys just go to his profile and see under his description how long the account's been active, that's usually a pretty good sign. If he's
Yeah.
internet mission. But
I
until we
mean,
know that,
just look at the name. I see clear with a white icon, right?
yeah,
Like you know, this is exactly. Just think about it for a second. If current members watch this, if they're watching now, which I know they are, you literally have. You're a grown adult. You have to make a fake profile on YouTube with a fake profile picture and a fake name to engage with people who are talking about the Bible, who
yeah,
are talking about your belief system.
yeah. Keeps
This is the norm, you
It
know?
is, and I mean, they keep mentioning like, come on, he hasn't been responding to that. He hasn't responded to any of our things we've mentioned about. So that's why it makes me feel like he's probably internet mission. And again, if anyone on the comment is listening, if you can click on his profile and check on under the description, see how long his account's been open for. I could give you obviously I can't be for certain, but if we got a pretty clear date, it's pretty clear it's internet mission.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, on that, these Colts are crazy, man.
Bro, so tell the audience. I know you already mentioned it before, but just for those who are watching, what was your position in the church? What did you manage? How long were you in for?
Yeah, I won't go like in like full detail right now, but I was an assistant overseer. I was in 6 years. So I was under a certain overseer that my buddy Adam from Finding the Alternative, he was also under. And this overseer, he's only ever had two assistants, and both of them left the church. So if that doesn't tell you something, um, they sent me to Korea even when I was leaving this year, just to get me to stay. I sat in front of Zongil Ja, in front of General Pastor multiple times before I left, and I was lied to a lot. I was lied to so much about their history and stuff in Korea, and it really wasn't like it wasn't little things. It was really big things, and it was very clear they were lying to me about their history, and it really upset me that they did this. So I ended up leaving the church, and now I came to the true prophet, Joseph Smith, and he's the one
Oh, he
that
did
really did
it.
restore the gospel. And
Oh my God, bro. I love it. I love it, man. Hey, so real quick. So
oh,
you're
sorry, I
telling
haven't.
you're telling me I gotta become a Mormon. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, Joseph Smith. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Um, I don't even know where to start. Like, great
I
hair.
already
Have you, dude? Guys,
this is interesting, bro, because like honestly, like I want the WMSCOG who's watching this, those who are current members who might be scared to leave and they're like, no, this is just happening to me. It's my doubts. No, we're literally seeing a leader of the church, right, who was a high-ranking member leave. You're seeing him right here, right now, live. I'm not, like I said, I don't, Mitch knows this, and everyone that's talking to me behind the scenes, they know I don't disclose people's information until they're ready to talk. But Mitch knows very well. I'm talking right now with a lot of the leadership from all over the world. And there's so many people that are coming out. And the reason I mentioned that is not to boast. I honestly, I've said it before. To me, titles mean nothing in a false organization. The reason I mentioned this is for one reason and one reason alone. to the members who are watching this, who might be new, who don't have any responsibilities, who are just there going through the motions, has been there for 10, 15 years, wasting their life away. And a lot of the times members think, what if it's just me? What if it's just me having these thoughts? Because when I look at my leaders, when I look at my group leader, my unit leader, my deacon, my missionary, my elder, my pastor, they look so firm. I'm telling you right now,
We
they're
ain't.
not.
They're
They're
not. And I can
not.
tell you, thank you for sharing that. If you had to ask me, once you become, I believed 100%, all the way until I became an assistant overseer, until I became pastoral staff. Some people find out sooner, but when you kind of become the position I was, them coercing you pretty much out of money, all the money you had, I had an engineering job. Church pretty much coerced me into giving them all my money. And I was open to it, because I'm like, I'm an assistant. Like, God gave me this job. I want to work for the gospel. But my overseer kept telling me, oh, this is your sin. Your sin's money. And then he's like, you should be giving more. That's why God gave you the job. And honestly, I didn't have a problem with it because I was like, yeah, you're right. This is my life now. So I just gave my entire income to the church because I was living at the church. But what made me so mad is they came back. And he's like, I don't think you're giving everything to the church. What, dude? Like, like it just became more about money. He's like, I don't like talking about money. But yeah, he came back, said, I don't think you're giving everything. And it came to the point, I honestly got mad. I showed him my bank account. I'm like, dude, look how much money's in my bank account, like my checking and savings. Does it look like I have a plan B? Like I'm putting it somewhere else? And they told me eventually you need to get rid of your car too. Why? Because now you're even more tied down. Now you only can use a church vehicle. So like there's steps they're putting in place to where when you become an assistant, where it's very hard to escape. And some of these have been in so long that even if they left, it's hard for them to leave because I mean they have no job history. They've been in this group for a really long time. Um, and it takes a lot. Me leaving was not like, oh, see you guys. No, it took a lot. Like I got sent to Dallas for like a couple of days. Had a meet with the pastor, told him my doubts. Didn't help. He lied to me. Came back. I told other people again. They flew me to Korea for like 2 weeks, and then they just lied to me there. I'm not going to open up about like what they did there and stuff because I don't know. I have to think about it honestly. But it wasn't good. So like again, like I said, I left and then I was just like, you know what? I need to find the truth. And then that's why
I
I'm sorry, I have to keep doing. I know I'm very serious. Hey, we need
love
to be
it.
careful though because I'm like they're gonna probably like screenshot it like us when we were holding
Mm.
the Book of Mormon up
Hey, I
together
don't
like
care,
this.
bro.
Let's do it. And they're
Look,
gonna
hey,
make
hold
a
on, hold on.
video about it.
Let me get this one too. Hold on. There we go. We got
There we go.
multiple. Let's
There we
go.
go. Perfect. And they're gonna take a picture and they're gonna be like, "See you guys." They're gonna post in the group chat of us. See you guys.
uh,
See you guys. They joined Mormonism.
and honestly, bro, like at least Mormonism, they look
And
more
Adam, hey,
inner.
Adam, we can't forget Adam. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your heritage from you. I saw your comment earlier. Sorry about
What do you
that.
say? What do you
Well,
say?
Adam used to be a part of the LDS church, so he's like, Mitch, don't steal
Facts.
my heritage. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, man. And I think that even when you look at the Mormon church, like they seem just so more genuine.
They're chill.
I'm not gonna say that their
They're not
doctrine I
true.
don't
Yeah,
agree
it's
with
yeah,
100%, but as people, man, they're
great,
super chill,
great
totally
people.
different than the World Mission Society. You know what I mean?
100%. And again, it's another group. And when we talk about cults, there's two so called experts about cults. I think it's kind of hard to be an actual expert on cults.
Mm,
So many different varieties. And that's why you see Rick Ross and then you see Stephen Hassan. But they completely have completely different ideas about cults if you look at
yeah.
them. Steve Hassan, just honest, that's how I feel. He just calls everything a cult.
Yeah.
Rick Ross, this is me, and again, we have our things, but at least he's like, hey, yeah, this was a group. I would have said they were a cult before, but I don't think they're a cult now. He's like, I think they did make that they evolved into a religion. He thinks the same with the LDS Church or the Mormons because it's like they had some very cultish tactics before.
Yeah.
But even though I disagree with their doctrine, I think it's false, just like unification. I think they changed a lot of their tactics, things that are kind of bad. But go
Hey,
ahead.
hey, Mitch, we're talking about the same Rick Ross, right?
Yeah, that one. Correct. Yeah,
Sorry, but I couldn't help myself.
he's really helpful, guys. He amazing stuff. Just
He hustles a lot, right?
really helps. Yeah, he really helps understanding about these groups.
Mm.
So
No, yeah, man. I definitely I agree with you on that. It's very hard to say you're a cult expert, and that's why I love what you're doing, man. And actually, I want to kind of give you the platform. What is the name of your channel again?
yeah, it's called a cult audit. So videos aren't going to be posted right away because again, what I'm doing is it's not like I'm not just make there's people out on there online and they make a video about the Book of Mormon and they're like they go to the church for one day and they're like they're a cult and they just take everything they learned about them online. They're like they're a cult. I don't agree with that. Um, I think if you want to actually have a respectful like opinion on a group, I think we as like what we went through, we were in a high control group that was harmful. We know the tactics of a cult. So I'm going at these groups not by what they believe. Of course, but like I'm fair to them. I've already read the entire Book of Mormon. I disagree with it. I don't believe it. But I give them benefit of the doubt. I read it. And I also check, is there something in their doctrine that they're also teaching that is a harmful tactic? Because sometimes in these groups, they do have a doctrine that is harmful within their literature. And that stuff does need to be exposed, right? So I'm going at this. I'm not trying to attack people's beliefs. I'm not trying to attack their religion. I'll, of course, always give my opinion, say, yeah, I disagree with them. But I also want to share what they believe. Every group, I want to share what they believe, but I'm actually going to be I'm joining these groups. I'm actually going into them and I want to spend enough time in them to where I can give an audit at the end, like an audit, like, hey, I didn't just read the material. I didn't just like make a video. I'm going to go there. I'm going to I wouldn't really say, I guess some of these groups, I'd say it's more infiltration. Like the Mormons, I've just been going there every Sunday. It's simple. Like I walk in as a visitor, nothing weird. They've been fine. They're just like normal people. They're nice. They're just like they have a weird belief. That's just where they're at now to me. I don't agree with it. I do think some stuff is a little culty, but I don't think they're a dangerous cult, right? And that's why I'm not going to be like, don't go there, guys. Of course, I don't want people to go there, but you know what I mean? That's not the goal. I just want to see if these groups are cults. So there's many Asian groups I'm working on right now, and I don't want to name all of them right now. I'm getting done with Eastern Lightning, so I don't want to mention them right now. So I'm fine mentioning about them. They haven't really had much stuff about them online either. So they're probably not going to really see this. I highly doubt it. But yeah, I'm joining the groups, trying to get their material, understand them, seeing if they're using tactics on me that are harmful or harmful to where I see how they're acting upon other people in the group, and then I'm gonna make a full video, like a mini doc, I guess you can say, on like all these groups, and share their history, see if they're a cult or not, and then yeah, that's what I'm doing right now with my channel. So you're not gonna see any videos up. I'll say that. Don't mention it, Edgar, but there were videos up before. But they're not on there right now for certain reasons. But yeah,
So I just want to say to everyone who follows me, please go follow Mitch's channel, Cole Audit, because this stuff takes a lot more work than people know. Like, I mean, it really does. It takes a lot of work and the level of patience. I mean, good Lord, I know how hard I struggle to sit through a general pastor sermon in the morning service of the Sabbath day.
oh my
I
goodness,
can't
yeah.
imagine going to different churches and listening to these people
What's
preach
worse
something
is,
that's
yeah, I'm not even gonna say the group, but you know the group, the other WMSCOG group.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say much, but there's something, dude. That's
Lost in
hard.
the
Yeah.
sauce.
Lost in the sauce. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. Again, guys, there's no videos up actually. They're just unlisted right now. So
Yeah,
you can't see them. But yeah, follow it there soon. I think maybe towards the end of the year, I'm gonna have the first video done with the one group I'm in from China. And then there's other groups I'm in currently, but I'm still building my report on them. But hopefully, Edgar, I can get you on the channel too. I want you to be
for
on it
sure.
because I still want to do
O-
dialogue. You know what I mean? With other
only
groups
if
too.
only if you promise me that at the end of your audits, you're going to get all these leaders from these, organizations to agree to a royal rumble. Is
Dude,
that
we got
possible?
to. Hopefully. We'll live stream it.
Oh man, that'd be
Dude, yeah.
crazy,
It's
bro.
crazy,
That'd be
but
crazy. Elbow from the top, bro. Boom. But anyway, yeah. So I guess I was gonna, I think it's time to about wrap things
it
up. But I
is.
want to
Yep.
look at the comment section real quick, see if there's anything that we might have missed that's worth mentioning right before we wrap things up. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. So bad. It's Superman 33. It's so bad in the WMSCOG now that if you question even more higher up, going to the pastor, he will tell you you can do whatever you want. That is wild. Yeah, you can definitely see they are losing it right now.
Oh, I did want to say something really quick in between this because if World
Yeah.
Messiah Church of God is watching this, which I do think they watch some of them, I just want to put this out there for them actually. If you guys do come after me for speaking out, or you try to affect my family in any way, or coerce my wife in any way, because I'm actually speaking on a YouTube channel, I just want to let you know I already have legal representation. So I'm just putting this out there right away. I know to some regular members it might be like, why are you doing that? But it's like I just know I don't want you guys affecting my family. I don't want you guys saying anything about me. I don't need you guys telling my wife stuff. I'm not a part of the church. It's not your business. We're in a country of freedom of religion, and I'm just letting this know if you're watching this video, I don't want to see any coercive tactics. I don't want you talking to my wife about this. Yeah, I don't want you guys doing anything, and I just want to put it out there. I already have legal representation. So if you guys come after me, I am willing, and we will take those steps. Mitch, you don't understand what eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil is, even if you were an assistant. Okay, thank you. That's fine. Thanks for actually commenting, because actually I feel like you haven't even mentioned me this whole time in it. That's fine, dude. If you have your opinion, whatever, dude. But I'm just letting you know because maybe you are internet mission team. But again, do it. I genuinely, and I got your name. I see clear because maybe if it's you that do that stuff in the future, this stuff's all recorded. It's already on the YouTube video. And yeah, again, I will take legal representation, which I already have. So if you guys do want to come against me for what I'm doing, um, do it. I hope you guys don't, genuinely. And I don't want to cause problems in the sense for you guys, but I have my own opinion and I can share. So, Mitch, you are wrong in all three. I don't know in all three, but okay. But anyways, yeah, thanks. I I see clear. Oh, anyways. Okay, thank you, dude. You have your opinion. No, go ahead, bro. Like
Yeah.
genuinely say what you want. I'm fine with it. Like
Yeah.
again, freedom of religion, that's why you can get on the comments and say stuff. Mitch,
Yeah.
you think you know from a little experience, but you don't know what you are talking about. Dude, I made this person mad, I think, from whatever it is.
Yeah. I
Maybe they
think
know me.
everyone on the chat, including us, on the
Hmm.
call, even our friend that joined us, I think all of them are going to live rent free in bro's head when he
Yeah.
goes to sleep tonight,
Yeah, and
and
it's fine, dude. Like, if he wants to talk, he can come on here and talk freely, but I can too.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I'm fine
exactly.
with him doing that. But again, if you're gonna, and this is what cults do, if you come after me for speaking out, right?
Yeah.
That's very cult-like tactic. That is very cult-like tactic. You can come on, like, honestly, if you are in the World Messiah Church of God and you want to believe what you believe, dude, I'm all for it. Like I said, go for it. You have your own belief, but we still have the right to criticize it. We live in a free country. So like I see clear, dude, thanks. Thanks for speaking your mind, but I'm just letting the church know. I don't want
Yeah.
problems. I just want to be free, Let me be free.
Yeah.
And if
And
not, then we'll have problems.
I see chapter 33, year 92 says go another hour, bro. Sorry, man. I can't, bro. Literally,
Yeah,
like
it's pretty late, so
this was just gonna start like as an experiment, and like it ended up evolving into something else, which is pretty cool to
it
see,
is, yeah.
because it's cool to see that there's people watching the content that they want to interact, and we actually had a current WMSCOG member. So I see clear zero. Hey, thanks for joining, bro.
Dude,
You're
thanks. Thanks for
helping
sharing,
pushing the
really. Bro,
algorithm,
really.
and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So yeah,
Even
no
if you
hard
didn't come
feelings,
on the
bro.
live chat, we would have liked it, but like
Yeah,
dude, go ahead,
and
bro. Like, go ahead. Like, I'm glad you can share what genuinely. There's gonna be people like attacking, like fighting you probably in the comments, but that's fine,
yeah,
dude. I'm very, I was in the military. I defended the freedom of religion. If you still want to believe in this group, go ahead. But I, at the same time, have the right. to also speak about it. But again, that's why I mentioned. But if you come after me in certain ways because just I speak out, that's a whole nother story, right? So,
Wow. For sure. And I just want to say to I clear zero, you know what I mean? Like, hey man, if you know, if, for whatever reason, you know what I mean? If I know right now you got to put on the tough guy persona that none of this stuff phases you or whatever. But honestly, I'm telling you right now, if you want to reach out to me, you know, through email, if you want to talk, if you have questions, if you want to challenge me on some things, even if you don't want to look at it as a debate, if you just want to ask me questions, hit me up, bro.
not
No hard feelings at all. I clown, I kid with the people on the comment section because I'm sensing the room. I see the intentions. You can see by the way people are commenting. You know what I mean when people are
yeah, and
trying
like
to.
I see clear said Mitch, it is not clear I'm not internet mission. You might not be like honestly, you're I'm just like suggest like we don't know, right? Because there are people that come on. I see clear that they are. Some of them are. Some of them are just current members. Some of them are like new members. And I don't understand. You said, Mitch, I have responded. That's why they are silent. I don't understand that part. I see clear. But yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think
understand a
I'm not
lot of
saying
what
your
bro
internet
said.
mission. But it was just a speculation, right?
Yeah. Hey, I see clear. Next time we do one of these, bro, bring somebody, that maybe a leader of your church that maybe he'll want to engage. You know what I mean? I've been literally dying for a debate, and the only debates I've gotten had to be private because they didn't want to, do it live. And to show my integrity, I didn't record, I didn't post it, online. So it's not something that you got to worry about.
Experience.
Mitch, you
Mitch,
were
you were under
under.
ED, so he's probably saying Eddie. Many members from Utah weren't experienced. I don't understand what weren't experienced. That makes sense. Mitch, you were under ED. So obviously he's saying Eddie, but I don't can you make uh can you understand that last part? I see clear you said many members from Utah weren't experienced. I don't understand that part.
Weren't experienced about what
Yeah, I'm
exactly?
just not I don't fully understand.
Hey, hey, Black Chocolate says he'll jump on if I see clear hops on. So there we go.
No, even if I see clear jumped on, dude, I ain't gonna attack you. Like, dude, that's not
Yeah,
my
me
goal. Like,
either.
I just wanna, dude, we're here to talk. And even if you're Roman side Church of God, I'm still gonna like, I'll tell you, like, I don't agree, but I'd give you the floor. We'd give you the floor. You can speak. Like, it's fine. Just like Luke, he came on, he shared his faith. We told him we disagreed. That's fine. Like, he had a platform he could actually share his faith. We allowed
Yeah.
that, right? But we also have the right to push a little. But we're
Yeah.
not here to get like mad or anything. But yeah, I don't know if he's gonna respond. You were under Trey K. Glock. You were under Eddie. Is he new, Trey K. Glock?
I've been seeing him a lot. Shout out to Trey Key Glock. Yeah, he's definitely been active in the Great Light Studios
Okay.
and everything. So we appreciate you, bro. Keep supporting. I don't know if you're an ex-member, current member, or got someone in there, but thank you
Yeah.
for the support, man. Thank you for the support. We really appreciate it. And I think it's safe to say that I clear zero would rather argue with people in the chat than actually defend his beliefs, in public. You know what I mean? Where
But you have that
where it's
right,
gonna
man.
count,
You have the right.
but
I mean,
exactly.
but yeah,
Um, that being said, hey Mitch, thank you for joining, bro. It was fun, bro. It was a
yeah,
pleasure.
definitely.
And to everybody who joined us tonight, man, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the support, all the love. I've been getting a lot of beautiful messages, man, and it's really this what keeps me going is to see members leaving and people that's just been going through it, man, and like coming out on the other side, and it's genuinely very very awesome to see. So if anybody who wants to talk, please reach out to me. There's a community of ex members. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and there ain't nothing the WMSCOG can do about it. So
Mitch, you
until
were
next,
under Eddie. Well, that's yeah, that's fine if you say that. Yeah, but I just didn't understand the last part you said with the Utah. Sorry, he finally responded.
yeah,
I see clear. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay if you say that. But I don't understand. You did say many members from Utah weren't experienced. I don't understand that part.
I see clear. We're going to give you the last opportunity right now to explain at least that comment about the Utah. Uh, man, I sounded like the WMS. I said the Utah. Oh,
The Utah,
it's hard to shake that stuff, man.
Utah
But
is
yeah,
cool. Love it.
tell us a little bit about what you tell us a little bit about what you meant when you were mentioning Utah to Mitch, and then
I
after
just don't
that,
understand. So,
yeah, yeah, I don't either, genuinely.
because
So we'll
yeah,
get
Eddie was under Utah, like he was at Utah for a while. But
Deacon Truth, you don't know anything, Mitch.
how do you know?
Oh, that's hilarious. What does this mean?
I don't know. Mitch, your reason of leaving was human error, not the truth. I mean, dude, whatever. I mean, that's your opinion. So,
Yeah.
I will say, I see clear. Again, like you can say that, you have the right to, but I also have a right to give a defense. I didn't even tell the full story. Uh, I really didn't even go into any detail that, like, honestly, at all. I probably told maybe 5% of actually what went on and why I left. But like if just from what I said, if that's why you what you think, I mean, whatever. I mean, you have the right to think that, so
Real
that's
quick,
fine. I see clear.
Deacon True says with one leg raised. I don't know what that means, but it just sounds funny. Adam says he hurt my feelings. Amy said, "I see. Did you answer my question? You have news about how the Colts split? Let's hear it." I see clear says, "I did, Amy."
Amy, yeah,
Uh,
you're Amy, I see clear is right. You should have learned your level two subjects. You come
oh
on,
my!
Mitch. No
This
one is going to screenshot. I mean, they might. I mean, I can actually do that right now. Hold up, let
yeah.
me screenshot it. Boop. I actually did. So, um,
There you
I
go.
mean, I don't know if people like again, I don't know what people are doing on the chat. If they want to, I just got to protect myself because I have family. I see clear. The
Yeah.
reason is I have family and stuff, and I'm not saying they're gonna do anything. They might not really, and I would respect that. But it's just for my, you know, it's all assumption. You're right. It is assumption. I would agree with you actually. I see clear. From what I did say at the end, it is assumption. You would probably agree with that, right, Edgar? It's assumption.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying they're gonna do it, but I ain't saying they're not gonna do it. So,
yeah, and I'm
which
just
is
gonna
fine,
say
dude.
to I'm gonna say to Icy Clear once again. We've been nice to you, we've joked with you and everything like that, and we respect you and everything. But also, it does get old when you
Yeah.
just seem like you got something to say every time. But again, if you really want the smoke, bro, jump on the channel if you want to, and if you don't, that's fine. But it's kind of weird that you're already disobeying, you know what I mean, Zhang. So I mean, I'm just
Well,
saying, if you're
he said I misunderstood what it actually meant. So
misunderstood,
he said like even though you're an assistant, he said way earlier, he's like even though you're an assistant, like I guess you didn't learn much. He's like that's not true. Like the tree of knowledge of good and evil, like
yeah.
what I said. And hey, dude, maybe you're higher up than I was.
Well,
Maybe
maybe he's a pastor or
maybe
something.
you learned something I
I
didn't. Hey, and maybe you were taught different at your Zion. So again, it's my opinion.
Let's see and see who evaluation is better. Look what Amy said. Let's preach then together, IC, and see whose evaluation is better. But I don't see your response about DP. Yeah, I got money on Amy. I think Amy would twist him up quick, fast, and in a hurry. Adam says, "Hey, Thaddeus, is that an inside joke? You know what he's talking about there, Mitch?"
Where Amy is
No,
just normal.
Adam put,
Oh,
"Hey, Thaddeus."
Thaddeus. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Superman, I do whatever I want now. Thanks, Pastor. Over here trying to kick me out. Trey Key Glock, he don't want the smoke exactly. He don't want they running from the smoke, man. Amy, I see clear. I just know your preaching wasn't good, bro. You cannot. I've heard Amy preach, and I'm telling you, you ain't got none on her, Adam, or anyone on this chat, bro.
Except
I
for
bet
me.
you're probably.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. I was an assistant. You guys are better than preaching at me.
Hey, I gotta say this, bro. I bet he's probably like on sermon book one. Like
Maybe.
he's probably knows how to preach forgiveness of sins and savior of each age. Let's see. Correct. All right. Well, it was fun. It was fun. I don't
Yeah,
think the chat's gonna stop. So I think we're just gonna
it is.
call it a
It
night.
isn't.
Thank you guys, everybody,
He's probably
for your
tired. I mean, if he is in an admission team, which he says he's not, which
yeah.
hey, all perspective, you might not be, but if you are, man, I feel bad for keeping you up.
I see clear. You got to go to sleep. Oh, wait a second. Adam says his name is Thaddeus.
Oh, maybe it's
Hmm.
somebody from his church.
Huh. He is in
Oh,
Draper,
oh,
Utah.
okay. That's why he knows Eddie. And that's why he brought up like Utah stuff. You're right. I don't know anything about Utah, dude. Like really. I know Adam was from there. I know Eddie was the assistant. No, Eddie was the overseer there. But yeah, I have nothing. I don't really know you guys' situation. So yeah.
That is crazy. Adam got the scoop on him then, huh? So we finally figured out who Icy Clear is.
Yeah, maybe. But who knows at the same time,
Okay.
but it might be. Who knows? But good work
That is
anyways.
well.
I see
Yeah.
clear. I'm glad you can, support, the freedom of speech. I'm glad we were able to as well. God bless America and good night. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
That being said, everyone, again, one more time, please subscribe to Mitch's channel, Cole Audit, and once again to all the audience out there that's been, liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much, and we
He's a leader
appreciate it.
there.
We're gonna continue this good fight, and until next time, hope you guys enjoyed this live episode of Defusing the
Oh
WMSCOG.
yeah, it was a good one. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.